following is brought to you by the People's National Party.
Make the trumpets play. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. We can tell me how we can do it together. When we look at the future of precipice, we see Jamaica needs the vision of the PNP. People said the bag of promises, them can't carry go shop. And the crime rate getting higher, wonder when it all goes down, comrades. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. We can tell me how.
The proceeding was brought to you by the People's National Party.
The scale of dealing with anti-corruption issues. So there is a learning curve that we are going through. What is important is that the government supports the development of the institution so it can accelerate very quickly on that learning curve and provide the resources so that they can move very quickly on the learning curve, and that the government does not intervene or interfere. And that message goes to the opposition as well. Leave the anti-corruption and policing agencies to do their jobs. So why you come to me with that foolishness, you know? You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.
Hello, welcome. Happy Tuesday to those in television land. Happy Tuesday to our silent supporters. Happy Tuesday to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much as usual for tuning in. Remember, guys, when you come in, thumbs up the live, share us out if you can. And if you're new to the channel, please show us some support by subscribing, which will be greatly appreciated. Tonight's topic is corruption normalized with your host, Mystic Sensation, which is Baron and Anne-Marie. We also have Melting Pot in the building, and we should be joined shortly by Mr. Rattigan. Let me also extend season's greetings to those on the west end of the island. Guys, please remember to keep them in your prayers, because remember, they will not be having such a Merry Christmas this year. And we just have to keep praying and try to help them in the best ways that we can. All right, so let me just go ahead and welcome those in the chat. Doris McCoy, Carla Ebanks, Paul Wilson, Beverly 975, Lavina Miles, Rennie Swaby, Lynette Jenkins, Louis Longshaw, Laverne, Rosa, Norman Montague, Muriel King, bless up yourself, our channel member, Elaine Turner, bless up yourself, our moderator, Charles Beckford, Aero 60, Danny Bennett, blessings, welcome, thank you so much for joining. Merlin Molioson, bless up yourself, Gloria Blygen, make sure I didn't miss anybody in the... Okay, blessings. Thanks you guys so much for tuning in. Without any delay, I am going to hand over to Baron.
All right. Thank you.
Clarence, bless up yourself.
Thank you for that, honey, for that wonderful precursor, as always. Right. Very excellent work that you're putting out there. Of course, to all the peeps who tuning in, right, we want to say a big welcome, and also, right, a Merry Christmas when it comes, right? And for those who are facing, difficulties as it relates to the passing of Hurricane Melissa, right? We hope the best for them as well. Now, tonight's program is going to definitely be an excellent program, right? And we are going to definitely delve deep into some of the issues, right, as we present them. Without any delay, let me just, of course, right, introduce Melting Pot to you. Melting Pot, step up on the podium. All right.
Thank you, Sir Byron. Yeah, I just want to extend peace greetings to everyone, especially those who are
Melting Pot, start a low. Start a low.
oh, my son now.
Yes, good.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to extend season greetings to everyone in Jamaica, especially those affected by Hurricane Melissa down in the ground zero western end of Jamaica. We know it's a very hard journey to recover, but I just want to say in the spirit of true Christmas meaning, just be merry, as the word says, Merry Christmas. And to everyone, our family tuning in tonight on the platform, melting pots, a big up on yourself, Merry Christmas when it comes, and a pleasant New Year in the offering. And to my host, Sir Byron, season's greetings as well. And to Lady Anne Marie, season's greeting, my technical director behind the scene who always put the thing in place so the show can carry on as usual. So without any further ado, I hand back the floor to the host.
All right, all right. Blessing, Melting Pot. As I said earlier, that tonight definitely is going to be a riveting show tonight. Now, without any delay, I want to highlight the comrade leader talent. You understand, to show Jamaica that, of course, the comrade leader and the opposition leader, right, comrade Mark Golden is quite talented and skillful, and we want to have none other than the comrade leader to open the program for us as it relates to his talent and skill, multi-talented, right? And so then, of course, without any delay, let us have our folks, right, enjoy, right, some of Mark Golden blessings, right, to us. And that is all we want to start, right, tonight. In juggling down with none other on the turntable, comrade leader Mark Golden. We want the people to tune in and listen to the comrade leader. Go ahead.
Someday at Christmas, men won't be boys, playing with guns like kids play with toys. One warm December, our hearts will see a world where men are free. Someday at Christmas, there'll be no wars, when we have learned what Christmas is for, when we have found what life's really worth, there'll be peace on earth. Someday in a world where men are free. Maybe not in time for you and for me, but someday at Christmas time. Someday at Christmas we'll see a land with no hungry children, no empty hands. One happy morning, people will share a world where people care. Whoa,
Jamaica, clean with me if you can. Imagine our land, no more hunger, no poverty, a system right for everyone.
one shining moment, one prayer away from our world today.
Someday all our dreams will come to be. Someday in a world where men are free. Maybe not in time for you and for me, but someday at Christmas time. Someday at Christmas, man will not fail. Hate will be gone and love must prevail. Someday a new world that we can start with hope in every heart. Yeah. Someday it will be so nice. My Jamaica. So Irie, Jamaica, this is Mark Golding, and I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and all the very best for the new year when it comes. The word is love.
Yes, to the people at large out there, this is how we want to. What a rendition, right? I am so happy and so, so proud, multi-talented, right, as it relates to comrade leader Mark Golden, giving his blessings. And, it's to say that indeed we are resilient. And I do believe that in spite of what we are going through, right, we are going to make it, right? We are going to save Jamaica for our children's sake. And that is what we want, right? We are going to fight. We are going to point out the wrongdoing, and we are going to keep government, right, in checks and balance, right? Integrity matters. And we have to highlight the issues because we want to build our nation, right? We want to make sure that our leaders can represent us locally and internationally. And we are proud, right, to have leaders that have credibility and integrity. Unfortunately, we are going through what I describe as a banana republic, and the reason for me to identify the governance, the current governance, as a banana republic, because I just don't believe that a prime minister going consecutively 3-4 years not having his statutory declaration certified, that's a no-no, right? And regardless of how other persons want to, spin it, right? The alternate reality, right? We are here saying that that's a very serious issue when our leader who came into the politics not rich, but today we know for sure that Andrew Holness is more than a billionaire, and this billionaire cannot explain his wealth. We have a problem with that. That's a very serious problem. So we have to look over the charade of, them saying we are bad mind and so forth. We have to speak the truth, right? Because it what it will. He who hide the wrong he did will continue to do the wrong thing still. And rest assured, that's what this government is doing. Now, there is something that came out into the Gleaner. And of course, when Brother Rattigan comes in, we'd like to might be expound on it. And I think some little bit of misinterpretation as it relates to what transpired with the Supreme Court. So I want to break it down as it relates to my subjective understanding. And Rattigan, right, who of course, right, is a lawyer, will come and explain it, right, in clear detail. But in terms of my understanding, right, I think what the Supreme Court had done was to execute due diligence, right? And we are going to go through that, right? And so then it is certainly not a win for Andrew Holness, right? And it is not a win for the Jamaica Labour Party government, right? It's more to me looking like, of course, definitely it's a win for the Integrity Commission. Without any delay, let us put up that and let us break it down in terms of, my understanding where that is concerned. Now, so here it is, people, right? Where I said this is definitely not a win for Andrew Holness or neither the Jamaica Labour Party. This is saying Supreme Court puts pause on SMA probe, right? So from the onset, that might turn off a lot of people, right, who might not have, certain knowledge as it relates to the criminal justice system work, and particularly the judiciary. So nothing wrong there as it relates to Supreme Court putting a pause on SMA probe, right? Because this is the process of what we call, right, due diligence. So let us read. Supreme Court has granted the Spectrum Management Authority, right, and its managing director, Dr. Maria Myers Hamilton, permission to seek judicial review of 2 notices linked to an ongoing investigation by the Integrity Commission. So I want to explain that before I go any further. Nothing wrong in terms of the SMA, right, want to exercise their due diligence. The court will allow that. The Supreme Court will allow that, right, in terms of, okay, let it goes on, right, to the next phase as it relates to judicial review. They have a right for judicial review. So let's give them that right. So there's nothing wrong here, right? So I don't want, people to misconstrue, right, in saying that, okay, all right, there is a victory for Andrew Holness. There is no victory here for Andrew Holness. Now let us read now. The court has also issued interim injunctions restraining the anti-corruption body from continuing its probe using the disputed notices and a witness summons. So what this is saying, as a result of, them seeking judicial review, right, there's a temporary pause until the judiciary review being done. Remember, this is only a temporary situation. However, right, so this is now that you're going to get in terms of the court explaining now. However, in a ruling on Friday, Supreme Court Justice Carol Barnaby rejected the SMAs. So people now make it go in right now. Make it read into it now. However, in a ruling on Friday, the Supreme Court Justice Carol Barnaby rejected the SMA's bid for several orders. So the Supreme Court, as it relates to several orders that they made to throw out whatever, that has been rejected. So there is no win here for Andrew Holness. Now, including the return of items seized in the Integrity Commission's probe. So the Supreme Court has said, back off. What the Integrity Commission had done, right, as it relates to whatever being seized, right, the court is not going to grant, right, that for them to hand over any form of evidence or whatever. The court stopped that. The court stopped that, right? So we need to understand what this is saying. The court also declined to quash an April notice, right? So the court is not quashing that. The court also declined to quash, right, an April notice. Let us get into this. So this is not a win for Andrew Holness, right? This is absolutely problematic for Andrew Holness. The ruling arose from an argument application by the SMA challenging the legality of several notices and a witness summons issued by the Integrity Commission in connection with an investigation into alleged corruption, irregularities, and impropriety at the statutory body. So remember now, people, right? The SMA, as a result of the investigation, right, as it relates to into SMA, right, on certain things, right, they want the court to throw out, right, certain witness notices, right. The court blocked that. No, right, the court blocked that. Now let us go on. The claim was brought by the SMA, which regulates Jamaica radio frequency spectrum, and its managing director. The SMA's application was based on 44 grounds. Listen, people, alleging procedural unfairness, irrationality, unreasonableness, illegality, and abuse of power and discretion by the commission and its director of investigation, Kevin Stevenson. Right? So the court, right, had blocked that and defend that as it relates to the Integrity Commission. Barnaby found that the SMA and Myers Hamilton had established arguable grounds with a realistic prospect of success, particularly in relation to notices dated July 9 and July 15, 2025, and a witness summons dated July 14. Now, let us look in terms of what they are saying. Fishing expedition. The SMA, represented by King's Counsel Georgia Gibson Henlin, argued that the notice and summonses were procedural flawed. They were not, right? And that is one of the reasons why the court, right, did not do anything with that. Vague and lacking in specificity. She contended that the documents referred broadly to allegations of corruption and impropriety without identifying whether the investigation related to government contracts or prescribed license, making it difficult for the authority to determine the relevance of the material requested. In agreeing with the applicants, the judge accepted that the breadth of the language used raised legitimate concerns that the exercise could amount to a fishing expedition. That is what the judge is saying, including the possibility that the requests were being used to obtain, right, Dr. Myers Hamilton personal file. The judge also found merit in the complaint that the Integrity Commission and its representatives sought to circumvent the SMA's right to seek legal advice after the director of investigation issued a witness summons to a senior employee to attend a hearing and bring files that were sought in the disputed notice earlier. The summons was issued after the SMA withdrew its consent for Integrity Commission officials to enter its premises and inspect documents in July. The SMA raised objections to the July notices, but the Integrity Commission did not provide a response and proceeded with its hearing involving the employee. The judge acknowledged that the Integrity Commission's notice contemplates that persons may have legal questions, as the document asks recipients to put into writing reasons why they may not be able to comply. Their failure, I see, right in bracket and Stevenson, to consider and communicate a response to communications of inability to comply, and the issue thereafter of the 14th of July summons calling for production of the same files requested in the notice. I come to the view that the applicants have demonstrated that there are arguable grounds for judicial review with realistic prospect of success, Barnaby wrote. So that is what the judge is saying. So they are going to go into the court as it relates to seeking that judicial review, which definitely, basically, the Integrity Commission, right, act in their ambit, right, to deal with this particular investigation, right? And the IC's argument that it is not restricted. So hear it now, people. And the IC's argument that it is not restricted from using avenues available to for it to pursue its investigation. And the IC is 100% correct, right? Because there are policies that support, right, the Integrity Commission doing that. So when that goes into court, the policy position is going to defend, right, the Integrity Commission investigators, and not subject to anyone control except the courts. Barnaby said, whatever the respondents' view of the scope of their authority, they are both creatures of statute and must act within the four corners of their enabling legislation. To preserve the status quo, pending the outcome of the judicial review, pending, so people, listen, pending the outcome of the judicial review. So this is not something where, okay, all right, this court, right, throw out certain things and stop. I want people to pay attention, right, to this paragraph, right? To preserve the status quo pending the outcome of the judicial review, the court granted 2 interim injunctions. Under the first, the Integrity Commission and its agents are restrained from entering or further entering the SMA's premises. Now, because remember, right, the SMA, right, file certain things, right, but the court have to allow people, right, the court have to allow full due diligence, right, as it relates to, right, the issue at hand, to make sure that everything is fair and balanced, or from examining, inspecting, or copying documents in purported execution of the challenge notice and summons. So all of the notice being collected from the Integrity Commission, right, the court is not scrapping that in, right? The court, right, just put a stop that, all right, in terms of further investigation or further digging, let us just wait until, right, the judicial review, right, they hear as it relates to the outcome of the judicial review. Remember that, people. The second injunction requires the Integrity Commission to seal all personal files, including that of Myers Hamilton, as well as any other document seized under the disputed instrument, right? Because there's a dispute as it relates to the SMA and Integrity Commission. So until that settle as it relates to, right, the judicial review. Barnaby accepted submission that allowing the Integrity Commission to continue and complete its investigation using the contested material could render any eventual court orders nugatory, right, and undermine the SMA's right of access to the court. However, the court declined. So listen now, people. However, the court declined to grant leave for an order of mandamus compelling the immediate return of documents seized during visit to the SMA on April 11 and July 16, right? So basically, this judge is just not interfering with the process. They apply as it relates to judicial review. The court is just making that pass through for judicial review. And here it is. However, the court declined, people, to grant leave for an order of mandamus compelling the immediate return of documents seized during visit to so the court is not interfering. And all the documents that the Integrity Commission, right, retrieve, right, simply means that the court is not doing anything. The court is saying, okay, just leave everything until, you understand, the judicial review, right, make a ruling. So it is not like, you understand, the court is saying that the integrity, the investigation is over and they are throwing out the case. It is nothing like that. This is just a temporary situation as it relates to the SMA just utilizing delay tactics, because of course what the court is going to rule on as it relates to the judicial review, right? They are going to look on the remit, right, of the responsibility, right, under the Integrity Commission Act, right? And you have sections that cover the Integrity Commission. So this is not a win for Andrew Holness, right? Not a win for the guy who involved with this matter. The judge held that the applicants failed to identify any specific statutory duty requiring the Integrity Commission or its director of investigation to. All right. So here it is now, people. So people, we have to read with some level of understanding and awareness, right? So here the judge now. The judge held that the application failed to identify any specific statutory duty requiring the Integrity Commission or its director of investigation to return the seized material, a necessary precondition of the grant of mandamus. So the judge is allowing the Integrity Commission to keep all the investigation, right, as it relates to all the files being retrieved by the Integrity Commission, right, to be held, right, as it relates to the keep of the Integrity Commission. She noted, however, that if the SMA succeeds at the substantive hearing, so hear it now, people, this is what I'm showing you, that, okay, this is not a situation where the court is saying that, okay, all right, they are kicking out anything. No, it's nothing like that, right? So it is just a situation where, right, it's allowed the process for due diligence, right? And where the court, it doesn't seem like any form of unfair game is playing here. And we are going to have Rattigan, right, explaining the thing in more detail because he's the lawyer. I am not a lawyer. So when Rattigan going through this, then you will understand as it relates to more clarity. Now, the court also rejected the SMA's claim that the Integrity Commission acted unlawful by removing documents without a warrant in breach of Section 17J of the Revenue Administration Act. So the court doesn't agree with that. All right. Now, Barnaby ruled that while the Integrity Commission has search and seizure powers under the Act, Section 51 of the Integrity Commission Act expressly permits entry onto government-owned premises to inspect documents without a warrant. So the judge now is taking the side now of the Integrity Commission. Now, the SMA, as an incorporated public body, failed to establish that its premises did not fall within that exception. Now, the matter will now proceed to a full judicial review at which the SMA will seek orders quashing the Integrity Commission's notices and summonses and prohibiting any further action based on them. So remember now, that is the other stage that it will be going, right, as it relates to the judicial review. Now, according to the court filings, the Integrity Commission launched its investigation in December 2023. It is examining allegations of corruption, irregularities, and impropriety, including whether any member of the authority breached the law. The probe includes scrutiny of steam cleaning and sanitization contracts awarded between 2020 and 2024. The first hearing of the fixed date claim is set for February 19 next year. Stephanie Williams, Limar Neal, and Vashini Headlam, instructed by Henlin Gibbs Headlin, also appeared for the SMA and Myers Hamilton. All right, so let us go to, right, Brother Rattigan, right, take it away, honey, right, who, of course, is the person who has the expertise, right, in this matter. So, Brother Rattigan, put Brother Rattigan up on the podium there. Brother Rattigan, right? As it relates to the court ruling for judicial review, right? Please, if you can explain, right, the clarity of that for those persons who, don't have any understanding of what being transpired here, right? In terms of my understanding, the court is not throwing out anything, right? The court is exercising what we call due diligence, right, so that it pass on to for judicial review. You're saying on the matter, Brother Ratti.
Yeah, good night. Sorry for being late.
Yes.
Circumstances beyond my control.
Everything good.
Yeah, man. Big up yourself, Lady Anne Marie, Lord Byron, Melting
All right.
Pot, and all of the wonderful people in the audience. I came on late and I heard you. I caught the last part of it where you're talking about section, was it 51, and about SMA and somebody. I have no idea what's going on here.
Okay, so you want me to read over the document again?
Just briefly tell me what going on. Yeah, if you want, yeah.
Okay, all right. Let me just bring up the document. Let me just quickly read over the document. The judge granted judicial review for SMA to seek judicial review. So let me just quickly go over the document, Brother Ratti. Right? Sorry about that. I think I thought you were listening in the background there.
No, I got that. I came on late. I got the last part.
Okay. So Supreme Court puts pause on SMA probe. That is the subheading. All right. The Supreme Court has granted the Spectrum Management Authority and its managing director, Dr. Maria Myers Hamilton, permission to seek judicial review of 2 notices linked to an ongoing investigation by the Integrity Commission. The court has also issued interim injunctions restraining the anti-corruption body from continuing its probe using the disputed notices and a witness summons. However, in a ruling on Friday, Supreme Court Justice Carol Barnaby rejected the SMA's bid for several orders, including the return of items seized in the Integrity Commission's probe. The court has also declined to quash an April notice. The ruling arose from an urgent application by the SMA challenging the legality of several notices and a witness summons issued by the Integrity Commission in connection with an investigation into alleged corruption, irregularities, and impropriety at the statutory body. The claim was brought by the SMA, which regulates Jamaica's radio frequency spectrum and its managing director. The SMA's application was based on 44 grounds, alleging procedural unfairness, irrationality, unreasonableness, illegality, and abuse of power and discretion by the Commission and its Director of Investigation, Kevin Stevenson. Barnaby found that the SMA and Myers Hamilton had established arguable grounds with a realistic prospect of success, particularly in relation to notices dated July 9th and July 15, 2025, and a witness summons dated July 14. Now, fishing under the subject of fishing subject matter, fishing expedition. The SMA, represented by King's Counsel Georgia Gibson Enlin, argued that the notices and summons were procedurally flawed, vague, and lacking in specificity. She contended that the documents referred broadly to allegations of corruption and impropriety without identifying whether the investigation related to government contracts or prescribed license, making it difficult for the authority to determine the relevance of the material requested. In agreeing with the applicants, the judge accepted that the breadth of the language used raised legitimate concerns that the exercise could amount to a fishing expedition, including the possibility that the requests were being used to obtain Dr. Myers Hamilton's personal file. The judge also found merit in the complaint that the Integrity Commission and its representatives sought to circumvent the SMA's right to seek legal advice after the Director of Investigation issued a witness summons to a senior employee to attend a hearing and bring files that were sought in the disputed notices earlier. That summons was issued after the SMA withdrew its consent for Integrity Commission officials to enter its premises and inspect documents in July. The SMA raised objections to the July notices, but the Integrity Commission did not provide a response and proceeded with its hearing involving the employee. The judge acknowledged that the Integrity Commission's notice contemplates that persons may have legal questions, as the document asks recipients to put into writing reasons why they may not be able to comply. Their failure, right, to consider and communicate a response to communications of inability to comply and the issue thereafter of the 14th July summons calling for production of the same files requested in the notice, I come to the view that the applicants have demonstrated that there are arguable grounds for judicial review with realistic prospect of success, Barnaby wrote. Now, on the IC's argument that it is not restricted from using avenues available to it to pursue its investigation, because of course the Integrity Commission Act, right, allow, right, the IC to do that, and not subject to anyone control except the courts. Barnaby said, whatever the respondents' view of the scope of their authority, they are both creatures of statute and must act within the four corners of their enabling legislation. To preserve the status quo pending the outcome of the judicial review, the court granted two interim injunctions. Under the first, the Integrity Commission and its agents are restrained from entering or furthering entering the SMA's premises, or from examining, in expecting or copying documents in purported execution of the challenge notice and summons as a result of the injunction, right? The second injunction requires the Integrity Commission to seal all personal files, including that of Myers Hamilton, as well as any other documents seized under the disputed instrument. Barnaby accepted submissions that allowing the Integrity Commission to continue and complete its investigation using the contested material could render any eventual court orders nugatory and undermine the SMA's right of access to the court. However, the court declined to grant leave for an order of mandamus compelling the immediate return of documents, right, seizing during visit to the SMA on April 11 and July 16, right? Remember that the court declined it, However, the court declined. Now, the judge held that the applicants failed to identify any specific statutory duty requiring the Integrity Commission or its Director of Investigation to return the seized material, a necessary precondition for the grant of mandamus. She noted, however, that if the SMA succeeds at the substantive hearing in pushing the notices and summons, the court would retain the incidental power to order the return of the documents. So I don't think I need to go.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So break that down for us, Ratty, as it relates to my understanding, right? It is all about due diligence, right? Where the court just want to make sure that the court is dealing with it in a fair and balanced way. Your take on it, brother Ratty?
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I think the court probably made a mistake here because, one, if SMA is a government entity, and it appears to be a government entity, then the integrity or the commission has the right to do a whole range of things if they're conducting an investigation.
Exactly.
And so for the judge to say, well, we need to have a hearing to find out if they should have used Section 51 or whatever sections they used to enter, seize, review, and also to compel documents and compel individuals. It seems to me as if it's very clear. It's almost like a waste of time to say, well, then we're going to have a judicial review. I mean, all you had to do was just look at 51 and just based on 51 render a judgment. Now, the other thing that's kind of curious to me is that they said that they seized documents April 11th, but then they came back in July. Then if they seized documents April 11th, why didn't SMA go to court right after that and said, look, it's illegal what they're doing. and therefore we're asking them to cease and desist and return the documents. Why they wait for them to come back, in July, and then compel an employee to come for a hearing and bring documents, and then at that point, now they start throw the man's in the ear and ask for judicial review. Judicial review is where, my understanding of it is that is where you have a dispute of facts and the law. And here we don't really have any dispute, because if it unless they're gonna say that the investigation should not have commenced to begin with, unless they're saying there was bad faith, they have the right to do it under 51. They have the right to do it on the 6 as well. In fact, let me tell you where 6 says. So I don't understand why the judge would even go that far. On the 6, it says that 1 second. 6. It says subject to the provision of this act, the function of the commission shall be to investigate alleged acts or suspected acts of corruption, prosecute acts of corruption, take necessary and effective measures for the prevention and detection of corruption, examine the practices and procedures of public bodies, monitor and where necessary, investigate the award, implementation, and termination of government contracts. It's laid out right here. So they could pick anyone and go all the way down to Q. I don't know why. I don't know if they use 6 or they use 50. Was it 50, 51? I don't know which one of them they use, but either one of them or both of them grant the Integrity Commission the right to conduct investigation and to issue summons where necessary to seize documents or to compel people to show up for a hearing. So to me, this is like, it's just kicking the can down the road, because based on what I'm seeing here, the judge should have just ruled that, no, I'm not going to give you a leave to that. But you know, it's a low bar anyway for judicial review, except when it comes to Paul Buchanan's case, but it's a low bar. It's a low bar. And the judge said, all right, fine, let me hear an argument. I guess he just want to fully ventilate the whole thing. But for me, cut to the chase. This is a waste of time.
Yeah, and the thing, Ratty, do you think that the judge is taking a stand in terms of full due diligence?
Well, here's the thing. The judge says, all right, whatever you have, this is to the commission. Whatever you have, you hold on to it.
Because that's what the judge is saying, yeah.
You can't review it. Yes. Because we have to have a hearing to determine whether or not you should have gotten it in the first place. And if we allow you to review it, it will defeat the purpose.
Yes.
So that's where it is. It's a stalemate right now. So now they have to come back to court and argue, why is it that they did it? Because of course, SMA going to say they had no right to do what they did. And Integrity Commission is going to say, we have every right to do what we did. And then the judge will have to make a decision and then go from there. But
you know what I'm going to Ratty? There are sections as it relates to the Integrity Commission Act, right, that give the Integrity Commission investigators the right to issue these notices.
True.
So isn't that the Integrity Commission is going to use that in the judicial court as evidence that they have the ambit in doing that?
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying that to me, it's a waste of time to say, well, then, we're going to put a stop on the process. We're going to have grand judicial review, and then we're going to have a hearing. And I'm saying, why? Why? It's a waste of time to me.
To me, it's a delay tactics.
It's a delay tactic, yeah.
It's a delay tactics, right?
They don't have anything to hide.
So,
why are they doing all of this?
Exactly. Right. Wife said, if they don't have anything to hide, why are they doing all of this? But definitely it is the utilization of delay tactics. But what I am seeing, I am not seeing a win, right, for Andrew Holness, or a win for what name?
Myers.
Yes. Right.
No.
So for anyone who have the perception that okay, it's a win and the court is this. No, you understand? It is going to go into the court as it relates to judicial review, and of course, the Integrity Commission, right? I am seeing where the Integrity Commission act within the principles of their guidelines. Wouldn't you say that, Rati?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, to me, this is going nowhere fast. It's just
Exactly.
a delay tactic. People going to spend attorneys' fees, um, and then the judge going to have to make a decision. And the decision, hopefully, it will be that yes, they do have the right to issue
They do
summons
have
and
the right.
compel the production of compel the production of documents, and you have to show up for hearings, and so they can continue with the investigation.
Okay. And to the fact that, Rati, that the IC already recommended charges, right? Um, isn't that if the court, the judicial review, right, goes in the favor of the IC, which definitely we do believe that it is going to go into the favor of the IC, right, can charge pursued forthwith?
Yeah, yeah, and
All right.
the fact that they've said the fact that they've referred the matter for prosecution tells you that the investigation is at least some parts of it completed already, because in order for that to happen, it has to be completed, it has to be sent to the commission, and then it has to with a referral for the corruption prosecutor, who then must review and then render an opinion. So
Exactly.
if the corruption prosecutor has said yes, I will accept the referral for pressing charges, then that part of the investigation is over. They're ready. They're
Exactly.
getting ready for trial. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not something that just started. If it and even if it didn't, even if it hasn't gotten to the corruption prosecutor yet, but it's at the stage where the director of investigation has made a referral to the commission for passage to the corruption prosecutor, because that's how it works. Then it means that that part of the investigation, again, it's done.
All right. So that is what we want to put out there. You understand, to settle any ambiguity, right? In terms of perception, right? Okay. All right. Thank you for that, Brother Ati. Melting Pot, what say you on the subject?
But then I have to dissect this subject, yeah, at the
Yeah.
LCM. You understand? But it seems like Jamaica is really a banana republic country. You understand? This is why not even them people here understand the law for the SMA to come out, yeah, and challenge Integrity Commission. Then clearly the SMA does not know the role and the responsibility of the Integrity Commission and what powers are given to the Integrity Commission. Now, Section 51 clearly outlines that the Integrity Commission has the right to go on any government property and conduct investigation and remove documents that is of consequential matters to them. So when Myers Hamilton, yeah, and the SMA want to challenge Integrity Commission into an investigation that has started from 2023, they are only, showing Jamaica the full status of what the country has become, a banana republic state, a failed one as well. Because under no circumstance, did the Integrity Commission act beyond its portfolio. It act within its portfolio. And so for them, the Supreme Court to give the go ahead for Myers Hamilton and the SMA to block the Integrity Commission probe into the ongoing investigation. It's totally wrong. But I like the stand that the Supreme Court Justice Carol Barnaby took. Yeah, she ruled straight away against the SMA, and she know what she's doing. In doing that, she's trying to outline to them, well, look, you cannot object to the Integrity Commission, pursuing this ongoing investigation because the Integrity Commission did not, breach any of its, you know, powers. So everything was done in the right and proper manner. And it must go through. But when you see these people trying to lend a helping hand to a criminal in the country, it tell you how the corruption ramp up to a high level. Because anybody could have known that based on what Andrew only submit, yeah, in his affidavit, he has no chance. No chance, absolutely no chance. So it's futile trying to, represent a guy who has no chance. And so this must come to an end because as we see where, the Integrity Commission went and seized documents on April 11th, yeah, SMA did not utter a sound. But when they went back on July the 16th, then here comes SMA now, crying out. I mean, if you know them did something out of their jurisdiction in the first place, you should have come out and said something. You don't wait till when them come back in July and do another, scouring of documents and seizing of documents. Then you go and come out and say something. It can't work like that. So it just shows that the people don't have a clue as to how the law should operate in Jamaica. You have people within the law who say they are lawyers and representing people. They don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. And remember, when you're a liar, you cannot, participate in corruption. You cannot look at a person who should be arrested and sent to prison long time and want to defend that person. Because everything is clearly outlined with all the breaches of Andrew Wallace. You understand? And I mean, it's no rocket science where this case going. This case, Integrity Commission will come out victorious. Yeah? And based on when the integrity come out victorious, because remember there was evidence suggesting that charge should have been laid already, So it's not that something just started last week. Start from 2023. So when time them are try the delay tactics, this is just showing the entire public that Andrew Wallace is guilty. And he's trying his endeavor best to use a delay tactics process, yeah, to keep him afloat. But we on this side of the aisle gonna make sure know that such delay tactics does not come to fruition. Because, with the vice where we have in these type of corruption, I sure know it won't fall on deaf ears. And I know our vice is falling on some ears that is attuned to listening to critical thinker, listening to a mystic sensation, a Ratigan, a man in the wilderness. Yeah? Them getting the gist. You understand? And they know that it's time they wake up out of the slumber and fight against the high level of corruption that has, festered over Jamaica. Something has to be done. Unless these people are not seeing themselves as true professionals. Yeah? Something has to be done. Because the judicial side of things, that's falling down several notch. And in order to get back its credibility and have a place of value in society, it has to change the course of its direction. And I yield back the floor to you, my brother.
All right, wonderfully stated here, Melting Pot. Now, Jamaica, where am I going as it relates to a significant thing that Singapore had done? And I want to show you as it relates to scammers that Singapore passed, serious laws, right, to deal with scammers. And watch this. We have seen Big Mama, right, as it relates to defending Andrew Holness in Cash Plus, defending Andrew Holness in Olint, defending Andrew Holness in SSL. If Andrew Holness was in Singapore, it would be a serious situation. Now, Singapore is also adding, as it relates to how serious, right, they take scamming, right? 28 lashes in, right? And 28 lashes out, plus imprisonment. And I am surprised as it relates to how Big Mama, defending scamming. And I want to show Big Mama, right, what Singapore is saying about people, right, scammers, particularly Ponzi scheme. So let me just first play Big Mama first and hear how Big Mama is defending Andrew Holness to be in Olint, Cash Plus, and SSL. Without any delay on it, let us get into that. And we are going to show Big Mama how serious, right, Singapore take this. And I'm glad how the Gleaner carried this situation as it relates to Singapore, right? So then if Andrew Holness was in Singapore, right, and did what he had done, he would be get several lashes. But here how Big Mama is defending Andrew Holness.
Andrew Holness, and I'm going to say this, you know, because I live it. Those of us who were not born into wealth, inherited wealth, however earned, however accumulated, we have had a hard time making it, getting wealthy, because we didn't have any trust fund to inherit at age 21 or 18.
This is definitely about bad mind and godfulness. So go on anyway.
Many of us were born into poverty, like he did.
And that he who you're making reference to is Mark Golding. Go ahead.
I did. Yeah? To get access to wealth, access to capital, meaning loans, equity financing, or debt financing, to transform our ideas or brain power into profitable, viable businesses, to stay on the right track of the law, we are looked upon and scorned. Because what? We couldn't go into one of the big banks and get a loan because we couldn't find the collateral. Can't find it. We don't have no land, we don't have no house, we don't have no inheritance put on, so you can pledge it. Him, born in a board house in a Spanish town, mother civil servant, he never get nothing. Yeah? But others, when they got to 18 and 21, or they were social friends with prime ministers and ministers of finance. Yeah? Got all kinds of breaks that we couldn't get.
Stop tell like Cliff Hughes. From Andrew Holness was 20. Andrew Holness working with Edward Seaga. And you need to come out, you understand, and explain that. Andrew Holness had gotten break from early. As Andrew Holness left St. Catherine I, who Andrew Holness was working with? Andrew Holness was working with Edward Seaga. So he had gotten the break. He had gotten the break. And if you're not born with the gold spoon, it no means you have to teeth it. Go ahead. So I could just remind you that immediately after Andrew Holness left St. Catherine I, Andrew Holness was working for Edward Seaga. You try and remember that. Go ahead.
Can't get a break. Where they became parasites and state largesse by being in the right circle. We not have that privilege. We're not so lucky. We have to damn well use our brain power. Yeah? And then when you use your brain power, like he did, yeah?
So you have to use your brain power by owing $1.5 billion in revenue, tax revenues, and where you have collected, right, your employee NHT, NIS, ed tax, but you refuse to pay them over to the government. So this is, so hold on, this your brain power they tell you to do? This is what your brain power is telling you to do. And you get 10 tax write-off. 10 tax write-off you had gotten. And so then how your brain power work? That people would have worked with you for years and pay NHT and pay NIS. I want to now get a home, right, from NHT as a result of them contribution. Them can't go get it. Them can't go get it because you did not pay it over. Are the sort of brain power they are use? Eh? Go ahead, man. We are listening to you. Go on.
You're not in the right network. He went to St. Catherine High School, not to Campion. Yeah, not to Immaculate and those places.
Cliff Hughes, several poor people Pitney went to Campion. It's not only rich people Pitney, right? Go to Campion. Several poor people Pitney as a result of their talent, right? Their skill, their capacity for learning. So what you say here of Cliff Hughes is foolishness. You give justification, you understand, to corruption. Go ahead.
So you read that story in the Gleaner yesterday. What did he invest in? Multiple businesses and accompanying investments, assets. Yeah? Businesses such as deposits in failed unregulated investment schemes like Cash Plus and Olint.
Hold on. Back up. These are Ponzi schemes. Cliff Hughes. These are Ponzi schemes where many investors had gotten hurt because of the trickery in terms of investment, where they were promised 10% on their investment per month and were outsmart of their money. Andrew Holness was in the echelon, right, of that as it relates to, right, those persons who run and operate Olint. Andrew Holness knew very well that this was a Ponzi scheme, and he hurt investors by partaking of those benefits. Go ahead.
Yes. That's what he had to invest. He also had to invest in a taxi company. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. So Andrew Holness invested into a taxi company where nobody knows about. Nobody. What route those taxis applied? Nobody knew them. And this make-up story of investment, invest in 2 taxis, and from the 2 taxis, make him into a billionaire. It is garbage you're selling. Right? This is garbage that you are selling, and you know that, Cliff Hughes. This is corruption in the highest order. And for you to come out, right, as a so-called journalist, which you're a political operative, justifying, right, Andrew Holness, venture into Olent, Cash Plus, and SSL, and where many investors have lost their money. It's a crying shame on you, Cliff Hughes. Right? It's a crying shame. This is despicable. What you are doing is extremely despicable. But I'm going to show you how Singapore deal with them.
In a hustle to start. That's what he had to do.
Take him over here. Take him over
He
here.
never
hustle for start. He hustle for start. He came into the politics poor. And now he's a billionaire. No other prime minister has done that.
But before you go on to the next part of it,
yes,
what I want to say, because I want to say this the last time you played this, that what Cliff has done to the employees that he took, especially NHT money from and did not pay over to NHT, he has stopped generational wealth for these people. Because when you have a house, it comes with land.
Exactly.
And that is assets you can use to secure loans to help to further your family and stuff. And Cliff Hughes has put a dent in a lot of these people's future, and they don't see it. And they should take out a class action lawsuit against this man for their tax dollars.
Exactly, because I mean, you collecting these taxes, right? These we call them direct tax, right? Because those are definitely deductions from your salary, your NIS, your ed tax, right?
It's money that they
income tax and so forth, right? NHT, particularly with the NHT contributions, that is what hurt me most, right? Because for those people who've been paying over these taxes and believing that they are contributing to NHT, right? And if they so choose that they want an NHT loan and they go to NHT, just to hear now that there's no money, right, in the trust for them, and the government facilitating Cliff Hughes, right, to be continuing, right, to do that, and then it's a big wrong again for the Minister of Finance, right, who has shares, right, in NNN. That's a conflict of interest. That's a conflict of interest. So the Minister of Finance who have shares in NNN, right, and where NNN, right, owed so much of government revenues as it relates to tax dollars, right, being written off, right, over 10 times. This is corruption in the highest order. No two-way about that. No guessing about that. Now, let us go to the next clip on it, quick and fast. Right, let us go to the next clip, quick and fast here, right here. Right, let us go to the next clip, quick and fast. Now, it is a fundamental wrong, right, and which Cliff Hughes ought to know, right, that
these just went up, so I'm not
right. The second one, that's the second video, right? So the situation as it relates to Cliff Hughes not paying over these people contribution. Yes, it's a big wrong. Now listen to this.
Liar and cannot be trusted. I lost money in Cash Plus and Olent. However, the PNP.
Now this is how lie this man is, you know. This is how lie and deceptive that this man is, you know. And this is one of the reasons why we say that this man needs to step down and step aside, because he's now serving himself as an obstructionist. For the man come out and I tell Jamaica said he has not been benefited and he lost money in Cash Plus, where we have seen the integrity investigation, right? They show you how much money the man make out of Cash Plus. And here Andrew Holness now up on the podium now to tell Jamaica, you understand? So him lost money in a Olent and Cash Plus. You don't want wicked on this. You just don't want wicked and don't listen to him.
The opposition is a liar and cannot be trusted. I lost money in Cash Plus and Olent. However, the PNP accepted and received $1 million from Olent. He has no credibility to talk about Ponzi scheme. They benefited from the Ponzi scheme to fund their election campaign.
Well, let me ask you a question, Andrew Honest. Not the very same Olent had given the Jamaica Labour Party $5 million US for run them campaign. And now you're fling about Olent give PNP $1 million. Brother, you look here. This is the reason why Jamaica need to understand who you are. You're bipolar, my brother. Go ahead.
He questions my wife's integrity about development. My wife and my family are hardworking Jamaicans. We started off with the taxes like many other Jamaicans, and I have worked hard. He has sought to weaponize.
Now you started off with taxes and drones. Make it talk. You started off with taxes, and nobody in a Jamaica has never sit in one of those taxes. Nobody does know the route that those taxes are applied. And this is what now you're coming now and selling Jamaican people. Which are them taxing around? In a space? No one can remember that, okay, all right, there was a leader taxi company for true. And yes, you understand, I used to take that leader taxi. Nobody can give an account. What is this? You're selling. What is this? Jamaica, wake up. Not one Jamaican can say, okay, I witness. Right? Andrew Honest taxi, the leader's taxi service used to operate in Spanish Town. No one has no record of it. And hear the man now on the platform. I'm going to listen to him.
Is that. But the people who receive me when I go into the country, they say, Andrew, don't worry. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. The opposition speaks about integrity and trust. He was an advisor to a former minister of finance that put in place a policy of high interest rate, for which he acted as a broker for the government to invest loans and bonds for which he received a commission of high interest rate, to the point where one of his members described this as the greatest transfer.
Now, this is how wicked Andrew Honest is. Right? He is the person who benefited as it relates to the 95 financial meltdown. Where him and his wife bought 2 of those homes. You can't get it any wicked than this. Him, Andrew Honest, saying all of this, benefited from the financial meltdown. And hear him now telling lie. Unbelievable.
Of wealth from the poor to the rich. He, the Topanaris lawyer, has made billions of this, yet he does not disclose this in his integrity report. In fact, he doesn't even have a house in Jamaica. How?
So, Andrew Honest, let me ask you a question. As it relates to the Integrity Commission and your statutory declaration, did you tell them about the Lido taxi service? Did you tell them about Omega Bridge? You didn't mention that. Remember, it is the Integrity Commission investigators who ordered a special investigator who had investigated and found that. You didn't mention that. You didn't mention Omega Bridge. You did not mention the Lido taxi service. Right? You didn't mention none of that. And here you are. Right? Telling Lion Mark Golin's statutory declaration being certified. And yours cannot be certified. Unbelievable people. Wanna listen?
How can we believe you? And do you have assets in overseas companies for which you have not disclosed? Again,
hold
Mr.
on
Gordon.
there. I'm glad Ratigan up on the podium and Ratigan hear that, you know. You notice him always take him sins and show up on other people. So Ratigan, we now have to go investigate if him have company overseas, Ratty. Because we know say Andrew Honest always take for him sins and put it on other people. Might be what we are hearing from Andrew Honest is that he's investing in overseas company. So we need to look into that. Go ahead, Andrew.
Go to attacking my wife when you, according to the Contractor General's report, benefited from a sweetheart deal that was irregular. You benefited off the backs of the Jamaican people in creating your wealth. You were a connected party with the then Minister of Finance, and you advised and created the FinSac debacle with high interest rate. You...
All right. So let me ask a question again, Andrew Honest. Now, the Jamaica Labour Party pay for the FinSac report investigation. Now, you and your administration pay for the FinSac report investigation. Now, the investigation completed. So my question to you, why are you not revealing the findings and tell Jamaica that here it is, Mark Golin involved and the PNP involved? Why are you protecting the PNP if the PNP is guilty as it relates to the financial meltdown? You have completed your investigation. You pay millions of dollars for the FinSac report to be completed. The report has been completed, and we on social media have been asking you over here now to release the report. And also the SSL report. Why are you not releasing these reports? Remember, you say you have the evidence, right? And say, okay, all right, it is PNP involved in the greatest evil of the transferring of wealth from the poor to the rich. And you have the evidence. May I ask you, Andrew Honest, why you not come out with the evidence? Show John public. Say, okay, all right, see it here. It is the PNP who involved. Why you not release the report? Why you don't release the report and settle all of this matter? The PNP is asking you to release the report. Mystic Sensation and other vloggers asking you to release the report. Ratigan is asking you to release the report. And other mediums are asking you to release the report. Melting Pot is asking you to release the report. Then why are you not willing to release the report? What are you hiding in the report? So then, you claim that you have all the evidence. Why is it? Why is it? And Jamaican people don't need to wise up. Only need to wise up. Why is it Jamaica people that Andrew Holness doesn't want to release the FinSac report and doesn't want to release the Crawl report? Why is it?
Taxpayer pay for the goods.
You understand?
Get the goods.
Remember, you know, tax dollars pay for it, you know. Tax dollars pay for it. He done the investigation completed. And he's only coming out on podium talking about PNP and FinSac and rare, blah, blah, blah.
Stop talk. Give it a report.
Right? And we are telling him, over here now, we are telling him, stop the long talking. Stop the long seed business. Fling out the report and make people see it. Because we know, say, Mark Golding never get $31 million US. And say, he forgot that he had gotten a loan. We know, say, Dan Crawford did not give Mark Golding $31 million US loan. And Dan Crawford did not give Portia Simpson $31 million US loan. Neither Dan Crawford, right, gave to PJ Patterson $31 million US loan. Who Dan Crawford gave $31 million US loan to? Edward Seaga. Who the financial FinSac also helped to bail out? Audley Shaw. Who benefited from FinSac? You and your wife. Now, go on.
Benefited from FinSac. I did not purchase a FinSac house. I bought a house on the open market. And again, you come with weaponized lies. Your lies will not work. The leader of the opposition is a liar and cannot be trusted. I lost money.
If God was like man, believe you me, you get a lightning ball right this way you turn up. A lightning ball lick you right this way you turn up. Remember me tell you, wicked and lie. Now I'm going to show you how Singapore deal with it now. Because Singapore no play. Now when they bring up the Singapore document, I'm going to show them. So Singapore no play with scammer. Me going to show Jamaica people how Singapore deal with scammer. Right? And this is what we are talking about. Now here it is, people. See the evidence here? When you come, people. Singapore to punish scammers like Andrew Holness. Scammers like Darrell Vaz. Andrew Holness and Darrell Vaz who mix up in a Olint, Cash Plus and SSL and Ponzi scheme upping. This is how Singapore deal with it now. I can show you and see there. December 19, 2025. I don't know long document this. You understand Mystic Sensation go dig up, you know. This come out Friday, December 19, 2025. See the people, 8:42 p.m. Singapore to punish scammers with up to 24 strokes of the cane from December 30. One think Singapore are rampant, you know? One think Singapore are rampant, you know? No. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Singapore's government said Friday that scammers will face mandatory caning of up to 24 strokes from December 30 under changes to criminal law to deter surging fraud cases. And me tell you something, say, me and Ratty gonna tell them, say, we need to have in law, you understand, to define what is nepotism, cronyism, and skullduggery, and send no found in prison. Right? Now, the changes passed by Parliament last month. Now, Singapore no rampant corruption, you know. No play with corruption, you know. Strengthen penalties that already include imprisonment and fines. The Home Affairs Ministry said the enhanced punishment ensure that our criminal laws remain effective, fair, and responsive to emerging challenges. Now, Let me say to Jamaica, you want to look at Singapore as it relates to the corruption index. Singapore is way above 50. Simple means, you understand, that they are least corrupted. You know what Jamaica did? 44. Simple means that they are extremely corrupted. Anything below 50 on the corruption index, extremely corrupted. Anything above 50 on the corruption index, least corrupted. Andrew Honest make Jamaica lose 4 places downwards in 2024. Andrew Honest. The Home Affairs Ministry said the enhanced punishment ensure that our criminal laws remain effective, fair, and responsive to emerging challenges. Under the changes, scammers like Andrew Honest and Darrell Valls, including recruiters and members of scam syndicates, face 6 to 24 strokes of the cane. Me say, at that you forget. If Jamaica serious about corruption, take a page out of Singapore book. Take a page if you're not serious about, dealing with corruption. Take a page out of Singapore book. Right? And Jonas, you couldn't get Singapore. And this would face you. Under the changes, scammers, including recruiters and members of scam syndicate, which you are, Andrew Honest and Darrell Vaz, who hold multiple GLP accounts in SSL, would have faced 6 to 24 strokes of the cane. Those who knowingly provide their bank account or other personal details to be used to commit or facilitate the laundering of scam proceeds could also face discretionary caning of up to 12 strokes. Caning of up to 12 strokes, authorities said. Andrew Honest, you would have definitely get it. You, Andrew Honest, you might say, Andrew Honest. Let me tell you, Big Mama, come, listen, you're on Draws Davis. Listen the paragraph here. You Big Mama Draws Davis. Those who knowingly provide their bank account, which Andrew Honest did in Olit, Andrew Honest did in Cash Plus, Andrew Honest did in SSL, because on the Swedish part, I had a bank account without $0 as it relates to Michael Leachin, NCB Bank. Take out account for Andrew Honest at $0 and where money left from SSL to that account. See the Andrew Honest. See if you get convicted here. Righteous, you get convicted. Big Mama, look on it. Draws Davis, look on it. Those who knowingly provide their bank account or other personal details to be used to commit or facilitate the laundering of scam proceeds could also face discretionary caning of up to 12 strokes, authorities said. Andrew Honest would miss this. Darrell Vaz would miss this. The new laws also allow for discretionary caning for other forms of fraud. Fighting scam is a top national priority. The number of scam cases and scam losses remain concerning, it said. Senior Minister of State for Home Affairs and Foreign Affairs, Simhan, has told Parliament that scams made up 60% of all reported crime in Singapore between 2020 and the first half of 2025. About 190,000 scam cases caused losses of nearly 3.7 billion Singapore dollars. I want to listen to this now. When we tell you, say Andrew Honest and Darrell Vaz hurt investors, and damage Jamaica economy, Darrell Vaz and Andrew Honest hurt investors, and damage. Hey, look, I don't know, joke this, you hear, listen to this paragraph here. Senior Minister of State for Home Affairs and Foreign Affairs, Simon, has told Parliament that scams made up 60% of all reported crime in Singapore between 2020 and the first half of 2025. About 190,000 scam cases caused losses of nearly what? 3.7 billion Singapore dollars. Right? 2.8 billion during that period, she said. According to the Singapore Government Technology Agency website, the top 5 scams in the city-state involve phishing, fraudulent jobs, e-commerce, and online shopping, as well as get-rich investment scams and impersonation. Now, Andrew Wallace, a $470 million. We see the run through your account, and you can't explain your wealth, $470 million. You're there, Singapore, you're gone to prison like, hey, you're gone to prison like Sammy Mouse. Judicial caning, a form of corporal punishment involving a rotten cane and bare buttocks. And this we're getting Andrew Holness and Darivas is already applied in the city-state for male offenders under 50 for serious crimes like robbery and sexual offenses, alongside prison time. Caning was introduced during British colonial times and is also used in neighboring Malaysia and Brunei. Me say, at that you forget Andrew Holness. At that you and Darivas forget, you forget caning in and caning out. At that you forget. Let us take this away on it. Now let us go to the panel and bring in Melting Pot. What says you on the views? And then we go to Ratigan.
Why, me I tell you, I like the consequence of a Singapore having sport. Yeah, but first I want just, go back to those 2 previous video clippings,
Yes.
with 2 individuals, attacking Mark Jefferson. First, Nancy Big Mama. Big Mama talk about people and wealth and inheritance and all type of thing and gold spoon and who them have and aid and assist them in wealth. First thing what Big Mama need to understand, Andrew Holness born 1972 and by 1997 when he was 25 years old, he had 47 million. I want him to explain that. I show Mark Holness never have 47 million at 25 years old. Yeah? When him gone from the schooling aspect, I go and show you how when them tell corruption, how them put some garbage in it. I go and prove him to be a not more than a septic pit. Now it's a Big Mama. He must say Andrew went to St. Catherine. Not like some who went to Campion. Yeah? We all know that. People's choice. Yeah? People educational, standard. Because Campion are the top school. So Andrew never tap him, couldn't go there. So him not get the marks in a common entrance to go to Campion. Yeah? But then again, me mention Immaculate. Immaculate Conception is a girl's school. Piece of shit. So no way Marky G could ever go to Immaculate. Marky G went to Campion College and performed admirably well. You understand? Top marks. Mark Jefferson Golden was a man who pride his education to the extent where it take him far afield. And you don't have no overseas performance in any institution of learning, Marky G went to Oxford and did his course under time, record time, and, top achiever. You understand? So there's no comparison. And Mark Jefferson Golden is a clean individual. Yeah, born from a clean family, grew up in a clean environment, went to a school that pride itself, and, outstanding student and outstanding moral. So there's no comparison where that is concerned. Now when I hear the garbage prime minister, the man who is under investigation or should be under investigation from 1990, because I know him never submit the 47 million when him say him coming up politics with. Because I know hear about not about that now in affidavit, And Integrity Commission need to look at that as well. Because that was said by the said Andrew Holness, not by me. Not by Byron, not by Rattigan, by Andrew Holness, giving an interview stating that he came into politics 1997 with 47 million Jamaican dollars. Mark Jefferson Golden did not value that at the time. I can guarantee Mark Jefferson Golden did not have 47 million at the time. So we know for a fact that they need to get investigation in that. But when him talk about FinSac, you know, this guy is so bare-faced with the lie. God Almighty. Everybody knows that Seaga get 31 million US from Dan Crawford and say forgot to pay it back. We know what it costs. It mash up the Jamaica economy. It start the value with Jamaican dollars, and with dollars don't gain back no strength from this. So, yeah, we know about the cash plus. We know about the holding. We know about SSL. They're all Ponzi scheme, and every one of them have Andrew Holness listed as participant. You understand? And we're talking about at the highest level as a CEO. We also recognize everything that went on there and then after. Because him also benefited from people who are having problems. Yeah, based on the fact that they borrowed loan to invest into this Ponzi scheme that was offering 10% interest monthly. You understand? So we know it was a scam, yeah, and it should have been punished more than how it went. They got off lenient, yeah. Nobody went to prison. None. So when him talk about PMP getting 1 million in election funding, I saw where David Smith give 5 million. And this guy was a guy who was directly involved in it, in the Ponzi scheme. Yeah. But him also give back 5 million US dollar to the Jamaica Labour Party. And we ask the question why. I know the People's National Party did not get a red cent. Not a red cent. So I want to know where I come from. And in terms of who benefited because who was close, who was beside Prime Minister and Finance Minister and benefited from high interest rate. The high interest rate was put in place to slow down the borrowing because there was no foreign exchange in Jamaica at the time. So in every country when you have problem like this, what happened? Interest rate have to rise. The bank, have to put up the interest rate to slow down the borrowing because the country does not have the money in terms of foreign exchange. Yeah. So these people now, some people were in dire strait, I was talking about people who put up their home as collateral. So these people were trying to save their property and had to seek borrowing. Now, the interest rate was 9% at the time. It's up to you if you want to go and borrow that loan at 9%. Nobody force you. So if you do, it's your choice. And if you don't, it's your choice. Now, a lot of people, as I said, were struggling because their home were tied against these loans. And so they had to sell off and see what best they can make from the sale of the home. Yeah, so they are gonna sell the house, pay off for them owe to the creditor. Yeah, and then the rest now, they are gonna just call it a day and say, well, the benefit out of this, rather than just make the mortgage lender them come in and take the house. Yeah, so who go buy the house then? Andrew Holness and Juliet and the bars them, because them know the situation and they did have money afloat around. Because them benefiting, Andrew never lose out on no Ponzi scheme. Andrew always come out a winner. And we have to ask ourselves if a coincidence or a by design. Wellman was by design. You understand? So them benefit. Pumbas them buy a house for 4 million and sell it back for 44. You understand? 4 million and sell it back for 44 million. They make 40 million right here and then. Andrew, they make money. So when the matter, I know Marky G never buy no house. I'm glad him say Marky G have no house in Jamaica. So the truth is him never buy no house. When them a buy up the people them house, yeah, Marky G never buy none. Cause them are the corrupter, you know. Of all corruption. So them know what the people them need and the situation where the people them in. And them have the people money and go buy back the people them house with the people them money. This is how this guy evil. And then him come and tell him lies. You understand? And him lying after you no wait. Him and Big Mama forget lashes. Cause Big Mama here and a betting him, you know. Yeah, so Big Mama forget the 12 lashes in and the 12 out. Yeah, but who would have want to strip Big Mama? I don't think that, boy, I wouldn't strip Big Mama for lash him. That's what them say. Yeah, but Andrew, me I'll beat that, man. I mean, I don't increase the 20, you know. The 24, you know. A 48 in and 48 out, me
Yeah.
again, man.
Well, I melted pot. Where's about Big Mama? Repeat, where's about Big Mama?
Big Mama forget the 12 lashes, cause I'm a ear and a better. Yeah?
Yeah.
But who would have want strip Big Mama? Cause them say them forget it naked pan them body, you know. Who would have want strip Big Mama?
What the passa? Going on.
No, sir. Mother taser him. Yeah, mother taser him 24 times. Double it to 12 and 24 times out. Yeah, but because you see, when them operate pan, you know, and that was them election lie. Yeah, them was the election lie. The debate where my Marky G yeah, him flop himself big time. Cause I mean, we all know how things are. Yeah, we know say at the People's National Party, yeah, draft up Finsack, yeah, to make sure no say it safeguard investors. You understand? And regulate the thing properly. Now, we know say the Finsack report is there in them control. For how long? And it not revealing to the public. But yet still this guy come talk. So if you have documents that can prove say Mark Golan and the People's National Party participated in all those Ponzi schemes and benefited immensely, why not reveal the FinSac document? Why not? But then lightning come strike twice again. Cause we just pay 100 million, you know. We get the crawl report for the SSL, you know. And I know Jamaican people can't know what in the crawl report. So it's the same thing with the FinSac report. A labor right and them administrator in that. Them two report there and them in it. No PMP no in it. None. Because them would have used it and play politics long time. Them can't use it so people just using a common sense, no man. A common sense, this, you know. The fact of the matter say a guy who like to do PR, a guy who like soundbite, and a big nasty germs like Big Mama, who is a political hindrance in Jamaican people life. Yeah? None of them can come out and reveal why none of them two report it. None. And the two of them cost 200 million. Near to 300 million. A taxpayers' money. But them still and asleep on it. You understand? It tell you the time of the day. According to what's in those reports. It's nothing good for the Labour Party. And it's so clean and pure that you can't find one People's National Party representative in that. Because them keep it away from them. You think they will let PMP into them secret arena? No! Them secret arena where them play them game. So them catch who them to catch. Whether you have PMP or Labour right, but you don't on a lower scale. But in terms of, you know, political spectrum, them no want no top PMP in them thing. And no PMP thing that. That was a Labour Party arena. So we know that go. So the garbage Prime Minister, him need to brush up him speech. Because him speech them stink. Stink alive. You understand? And I mean, I can't believe a guy just randomly step up on a platform and just tell a lie where no some people know the truth. This guy will lie at all costs to make himself look good, but he can't look good. He's the most controversial prime minister anywhere in the world. Now talk Jamaica. There's no other prime minister that have scandal and controversy surrounding them like this guy. This guy have scandal all in a married life in a parliament him bring it up. Everything round him pop down. You hear all him domestic affair him yard. You hear who him having in bed and when size 13 come and catch them, him get 5 healthy box. And reply, him can't reply to none of size 13 box them where him get. Yeah? And the only thing him can say to the mobile reserve personnel, make sure whatever you see here, stay here. That's all him could have said. It's a piece of germs that Andrew had germs. No good for the country. And we have to tell it as it is. Because the level of corruption we're participating in, I know. It mash up Jamaica. Sink Jamaica lower than 80. Because 80 money value stronger than Jamaica currency. Right now in a CARICOM, Jamaica have the weakest economy. I remember the economy suffer since the administration of Andrew Holness. And prior to Andrew Holness, under Bruce Colin. And prior to Bruce Colin, Eddie Seaga. Here, and them mash up the currency and mash up the country. So them can't come talk to all a man like me. I mean, know them can't talk to Byron and them regarding Ratigan. You understand? Because we know the solid facts of the matter. We can see the party them that has participated along structural government guideline. And the one them will behave like rogue with corruption. You understand? Normalizing corruption as a day-to-day procedure. So this guy can't come talk to it. So between him and Big Mama, hey, them want I send them to go to Singapore, you know. Yeah, it's just like how Singapore come take a model, we economy model, we micro and we macro. Yeah, man, we can't do an exchange program. We send we criminal them over there. We corrupted leaders them. We corrupted journalists them. Deal with them for Singapore. I yield back the floor.
Great. Yes, I love our melting pot. You understand? I mean, melting pot, take out the cane and deal with it accordingly. Because definitely, I believe that Big Mama, Andrew and Daryl Vaz, them need to get the cane. Now, without any delay, let us bring up none other than Brother Ratigan. You understand? What is your view on all of that? You see, Big Mama try to justify the situation as it relates to Andrew Holness in Cash Plus, Andrew Holness in Olint, Andrew Holness in SSL. And most of all, you understand, want to justify Andrew Holness' wealth to say that the man began with 2 taxi, where none of we don't know where the taxi they run, which route it apply. You understand? No in Jamaica, no evidence to find. Go ahead, Brother Ratty, and deal with the situation.
Yeah, you and melting pot and Lady Ann put up a lot of marks on the board, and I forgot dig deep enough to try and even just come close to one put up. So I listen and the top of take my back and I say, right, yeah, this did happen, that did happen, you know, because there's a tendency to kind of forget all of them things because this man has committed or has been involved with so many things.
Yes.
Now, let me go back to like melting pot. Let me go back to the journalist, Mr. Cliff Hughes. When you listen to him and when you look at his circumstances, and I'm talking about the one where, you know, it's been mentioned that he owes the government a lot of taxes. You have to conclude that this man, whenever you see him out, you know, you see him doing and saying the things that he's saying, it's like he's singing for his supper.
No, too.
Yeah, he must sing. It's like he's singing for a supper. And then he mentioned something about saying that it's one. He said a taxi company. It's not one people. It's 2. It's Sunshine and the Leader. It's 2 taxi companies. And he started bemoaning.
Ratty, 1 second. 1 second. One taxi company. The Sunshine is the mobile company.
Yeah, Sunshine is actually a taxi company.
Really?
Yeah,
Sunshine
Martin
mobile.
Pot. Martin Pot, Ratty right. Sunshine, yeah.
Sunshine is a
Uh-huh.
taxi company. Them call it
Yeah.
Sunshine Mobile. Yeah, it's a taxi company. I think that's
Okay.
the one where him and the guy have him consign some taxes and him supposed to buy the taxi company and then the man died. And we don't know how the man died.
Yeah,
But
you're
the
right,
man-
Ratty. You're right, you're right, you're right.
So,
Ratty.
yeah. So the thing about it is that him start talk about how him come from a poor background and never had access to capital and access to influence. That is not the issue. The issue is now that he is there, how did he get there? That's the issue now. That's the illicit enrichment part is, okay, you're there. You're a zillionaire and you have all this influence. But how did you get to become a zillionaire? That is what the commission's investigation is all about. Now, here's the thing about it. For a man who he worked for former Prime Minister Seaga, and that income was not reported. That income was not reported on the statutory declaration. But then we see a whole bunch of companies. We see Delido, we have Sunshine, we have Palladium, that company went farm on the British Virgin Islands and buy the boat. We have him invest in Olin, Cash Plus, Admat, Imperium, Estate Bridge, Positive Jamaica, Media. And then he said that he lost money in one of the Ponzi schemes. And the question I've been asking myself is this: if you put in $1, you invest $1 and you get $10 on top of it, so you have $11 now. And then you pull out 8, leaving 3, and you lose 2 out of the 3. Have you really lost? Because remember, you're coming with 1.
Exactly.
You walk away with both 8 or 8 to 9. So have you really lost? And the reason why I say that is because I see where he in 2007 his account with Olint, I believe, his account with Olint was $1,214,177.71, and that is US currency.
Yes.
Let me repeat that for people who never hear me correctly.
Exactly.
$1,214,177.71 US currency. And later on that year, he took out in excess of $350,000 to buy property and do a whole bunch of things. So the question is, where get all of this money from? If it just, you tell me, say 2 taxi, give him all of this money? Two taxes couldn't give him all of this money. And he said that on the debate stage, he said that Mark Golden was a liar and couldn't be trusted. Now, people, when you hear things like this, first you have to look at the messenger, and then you look at the message. And I don't think the Prime Minister was in a position to deliver that message. I really don't. Because he has not denied the fact that he had 28 bank accounts, whether it's in an over period of time. I haven't heard a denial say he never had 28 bank accounts. What I've heard is that, well, some of them were closed and some of them are not him, but he hadn't denied that he had a connection to 28 bank accounts and all of the property. No, I just want to say one thing about this lying business. When him say that the leader of the opposition was a liar. No, I'm looking at some reports here, and there's one entry that caught my eye. And the entry is an entry about a piece of property that the Prime Minister claimed was not his. Says not his. The property is at 23 Hill Road, part of lot 26 Norbrook Heights. And it says this property was not declared by Mr. Holness until a note was submitted in 2016. So he didn't tell them about this until them start catch up on him. And he said that the property was purchased in Admat's name. That's the, remember him said the opposition leader invests in a foreign company. Well, here's Admat from out of St. Lucia. That's a foreign company. It's not registered in Jamaica. And he said that property was purchased in Admat's name, but owned by his sister. People, this sounds like criminal activity here now to me, you know.
Yes.
Like it. He is the legal owner, Admat, he and his two sons. But he's saying, forget about what's on paper. I'm his sister own the thing. And he said, the reason why I didn't declare it is because I don't consider it my property. I consider it my sister's property, even though I am the legal owner of it. No, people, what could I go so? You have the paperwork, or you are the legal owner, and you say, I didn't report it because it's my sister's property. No, keep in mind, you know, we're not talking about John Citizen, you know. We're talking about the Prime Minister. That's what we're talking about, you know. We're supposed, when he was bringing in the Integrity Commission Act, he made statements to the effect that he want leaders to set example.
Yes.
Leaders supposed to set example. No, what kind of example is this?
I say not as I do.
Exactly.
And
And people,
I tell you the example, the same one with Dalrymple carry out.
okay. All right, we know about that one. So if I the same thing, then it's bad. So people, I mean, I don't want to take up more time except to say that the Prime Minister has proven himself to be a liar of the highest order. And when I say a liar, sometimes you can lie by omission.
Yes.
Not by commission. When you're required to put these things on your statutory declaration and you don't do them, there's a problem there. And how can you, as a Prime Minister, set example? I say, your sister this, and then you don't put on, and it's disgraceful when the Integrity Commission have to come and say, but Mr. Prime, we found all of these things, you know, and you never tell us about these things. It doesn't.
But Ratty,
yeah.
Let me just interject here. Isn't that the Prime Minister and some of the Member of Parliament, if not all of the Member of Parliament, would have gone through a workshop with the Integrity Commission as it relates to the submission of statutory declaration and in terms of what to do and what is expected of them? Isn't that the Prime Minister had gone through that workshop?
Exactly. And it was a very intensive workshop. It was not one day workshop. It was over a period of time. And they walked them through all of this corruption business and statutory declarations. They taught them, they instructed them, they counseled them as to how the whole process was designed to work. So the Prime Minister does not have the excuse to come and say, well, I didn't know.
Exactly.
You cannot come and say you didn't know when you receive the training. Not only that.
Yes.
If you go beyond that, there is a requirement in Parliament, the 7 Nolan principles.
Yes.
The one that you never want to sign. That's in Parliament.
Exactly.
That's in Parliament. That's part of the parliamentary adherence where you have Parliament members of Parliament have adhered to that. So he had that, and then he got training on it, and then he was told to sign off on it, and he said, you know, them not signing it.
All right.
So you're absolutely correct. There is no excuse whatsoever.
Exactly. But what is again, Ratty? As it relates to all what he had submitted, right? Knowing that he had gone through the workshop and he knows what are the necessary documents to be submitted, right? He did not submit, right, certain information as it relates to his statutory declaration. However, it is the Integrity Commission investigators who had employed a special investigator, you understand, who investigated Not the Integrity Commission investigators, you know. It is a special investigator who had investigated the narrative and found out the information about the Lido taxi service, Sunshine Mobile, and Estate Bridge. Remember that it is a special investigator who had found this, you understand, and reported it to the Integrity Commission investigators. So simply means that this is very serious, you understand, and under no occasion that Andrew Wallace can claim ignorance, that he did not know what to submit.
He cannot. And here's something from the reporter. I'm going to just give you a laundry list of the things that he didn't tell them when he was supposed to tell them. They found out years later. First one, Premium Group. That's the one where he was employed by former Prime Minister Edward Seaga, and the income was not declared, at least for 1 year. Then you have Sunshine. They found out about that. Then you have the Leader. They found out about that. Then you have Omega Bridge. By the way, for a man who grew up so poor, and we can't figure out where he get all this money from. And the more get the impression says 2 taxes now. 2 taxes make him even own a loan company called Omega Bridge. 2 taxes. We should all be so lucky. I know people that Jamaica have 2 taxes and I suffer. And yet here we have a man with 2 taxes, we can do all of this. Then him never tell them about the cash in investments in Cash Plus. He never tell them about the First Global Bank Money Market. He never tell them about the First Global Financial Services CD, Certificate of Deposit. He never tell them about the personal loans and advances. He never tell them about Olin. I never tell them about a whole heap of things. This man never tell them.
And tell them about the 47 million.
Yeah, and this is just where them find out. We don't know. If you notice, we don't get a full picture of his portfolio overseas, We don't get a full and complete picture about his portfolio overseas. So when him come out now and come on the stage and say, well, then Mark Golding is at this and Mark Golding is at that, I don't think it's a prime minister's place to even mention anything like that, because look at all the things that he's accused of not doing. And look at all the things that he's accused of doing.
Yes.
A lot. And so for him turn around now and say, well, I'm taking you guys to the court. And to find out some of my secrets, I'm taking you to court. And then also, people, we must also focus on the fact that this is not good for the prime minister. It's not good for the people of Jamaica. It's not good for the country of Jamaica. Think about when he goes to meetings and them say, oh, say what like a thieving man from the. Just think about the things that they're going to say about him. And by the way, last but not least, the Trinidadian Prime Minister, when she come out and a lick out against CARICOM, you talk about it tonight? I don't want to steal it on that if you talk about it.
No, well, me have some serious issues you have to talk about.
You're going to talk about it yourself.
Right? No, I'm not going to. So you can talk. I like
no, what should talk about it now? Should talk about the leadership of CARICOM. And
yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, who is leading CARICOM right now? Oh, I lost just Prime Minister is leading CARICOM right now. And him can't, when I hear him say a word about the developing situation in the Caribbean, when I hear him talk about anything having to do with CARICOM members, and in fact, he should be the one speaking out on behalf of CARICOM, and we don't say any of that. And when you read what this lady said, right or wrong, when you read what this lady said, she's challenging the leadership and saying CARICOM doesn't have leadership right now, and our Prime Minister is in charge of it. So people, I will leave it there just to say in conclusion that the Prime Minister is not a good messenger for anti-corruption. He's not a good measure for good governance. I mean, he's not a good messenger for good governance. He's not a good messenger for transparency. None of those things that you expect from a leader. He's not a good messenger.
Right, love the punches. But Jamaica, where we are going now, I want to say to Jamaica that we are in turmoil as it relates to what is developing in the Caribbean. And let me say this to you, Jamaica, that our Prime Minister has no backbone and fully compromised as it relates to, right, him, right, most of the time have to support the United States as a result of possible information that the United States has on him. And so then now he has to be a puppet on a string. This makes the entire Caribbean under flames. Now, Jamaica, I am going to show you something that is very seriously developing. And let me say this. When I present it, the information, Jamaica, in terms of my assessment, I believe that that Donald Trump is knocking on the door of World War III. And when that kick off, if we believe that Jamaica have problem, let me tell you something, the ripple effect that is going to have, believe you me, Jamaica, I make sure that I have been following this, right, dotting all my I's and crossing all my T's, and I'm glad that I have the panel that I have to break it down. Jamaica, the Caribbean is under flames. Now, look at this, what I'm going to show you, Jamaica. Look at this. Yes, honey, bring up this document. The first one. Look at what is happening. And, you know, there are some countries that support United States who is now withdrawing from United States as it relates to their original support. They are now taking back their support. So this looks serious. Now listen to this, people.
Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The Pentagon said Wednesday it's blown up another boat suspected of carrying drugs in the Eastern Pacific. U.S. Southern Command released video showing a speedboat erupting in flames, saying the attack killed, quote, 4 male narco-terrorists, unquote. If the Pentagon's numbers are accurate, it would be the 26th such strike, bringing the death toll to 99 people. It came as House Republicans Wednesday rejected a pair of war powers resolutions introduced by Democrats that would have forced the White House to seek congressional approval for the boat strikes and for any attack against Venezuela. The resolution was co-sponsored by Massachusetts Congressmember Jim McGovern.
When we go to war, our troops have no choice but to follow the orders that are given to them, right? But the bottom line is we have a responsibility to make sure they don't get sent into a mess, that we know what the hell we're doing, that there's a clearly defined mission, that this is the right thing to do. And it is the wrong thing to do, in my opinion. You know, we have homeless veterans. We can't provide people in this country health care. People don't have adequate housing. People are hungry, you know, and you want to spend billions and trillions of dollars on another war. Well, I don't want any part of it.
The Senate overwhelmingly passed the $901 billion National Defense Authorization Act Wednesday. It's the largest military spending bill in U.S. history. It pledges $800 million for Ukraine and a 4% pay raise for U.S. troops. A majority of Democratic senators joined most Republicans to pass the spending bill, but 16 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and Vermont's independent Senator Bernie Sanders voted no. Democratic Senator Ron Wyden said, quote, I cannot support a bill that increases military spending by tens of billions of dollars and fails to include guardrails against Donald Trump and Hegseth's authoritarian abuses, unquote. In Gaza, Israel's military is continuing to violate the U.S.
No, I told Jamaican people, right, that this has nothing to do with any drugs. This is about, right, breaching the sovereignty of Venezuela. And not only breaching the sovereignty of Venezuela, right? This is a criminal act as it relates to international laws. Now, let me show you something. China and Russia now stand clearly in supporting Venezuela. This means problem. And so then we are now at the doorstep of World War III. One little error and the Caribbean light up. Now look at this, Jamaican people. Look at this. Look at the next clip. Let me show you. This is no joke, you know. That the Jamaica need to be aware of this situation and the Caribbean need to be aware. Look at this.
Of foreign vessels violates international law, according to Reuters. At a press briefing, spokesperson Lin Jian said the U.S. practice of arbitrarily seizing other countries' vessels violates international law, Reuters reported. It's a notable escalation in rhetoric, with Beijing framing the seizure as a legal issue rather than simply a policy disagreement. Beijing is challenging the legal basis of the U.S. move, while the White House says the tanker carried sanctioned oil. The statement from China's foreign ministry represents a significant diplomatic intervention in what might otherwise be seen as a bilateral U.S.-Venezuela dispute. Lin also said China opposes unilateral sanctions it sees as lacking UN Security Council authorization, according to reports of the briefing. This framing is consistent with China's broader foreign policy position. Beijing has long argued that only UN Security Council authorized sanctions carry binding force in international law. Some governments and critics argue U.S. sanctions have cross-border effects that impact third parties not subject to U.S. jurisdiction. The United States argues its sanctions are legitimate exercises of sovereign authority. China's position is not unique. Many countries, particularly in the global south, have expressed similar concerns about the extraterritorial reach of U.S. sanctions. The disagreement over sanctions reflects a fundamental divide over how international order should function. The United States has historically taken the position that it has the sovereign right to impose and enforce sanctions regardless of UN authorization. Washington views sanctions as a tool of foreign policy that does not require multilateral approval. China and other countries argue that without Security Council backing, such measures lack legitimacy under international law. They view unilateral sanctions as a form of economic coercion. This debate is not new, but the seizure of tankers has brought it back into sharp focus. The confrontation highlights a broader question: who gets to set the rules of international trade and navigation? By framing the seizure as a violation of international law, Beijing is elevating this from a bilateral dispute to a question of global governance. This is a deliberate rhetorical strategy. China is positioning itself as a defender of international law and the rules-based order, a framing that challenges U.S. claims to the same position. The diplomatic language is notable. China is not simply expressing disagreement with U.S. policy. It is accusing the United States of breaking the law. Whether this framing gains traction internationally remains to be seen, but it signals that China views this issue as significant enough to warrant a public confrontation. China's statement invoked the UN Charter, the foundational document of international order. The Charter establishes norms, including sovereign equality of states and non-intervention in domestic affairs. China is arguing that U.S. seizures of vessels violate these principles, though the United States disputes this interpretation. The reference to the UN Charter is significant. It frames the dispute not as a disagreement between two countries, but as a question.
All right. Ratty, I want to bring you in this space first, but I want us to discuss a little geopolitics here. Because what this seems to me in terms of my definition, right, in terms of United States breaching Venezuela sovereignty, right? There shouldn't be conditional sovereignty. And what do I mean by conditional sovereignty? Simply means that, okay, a country's sovereign, providing that they are in alignment with the United States policy. And whenever they are not in alignment with United States policy, then that sovereignty, right, is going to be breached by United States as it relates to what they are doing with Venezuela. This is now a serious precedent being set that any other Caribbean island can be breached as well by the United States as it relates to their sovereignty. Now, where Andrew Holness comes in, right? United States don't have to push that hard because Andrew Holness' level of corruption and criminality that may have hit the Swiss system and whatever information United States have on Andrew Holness, he's going to have Andrew Holness singing like a puppet on a string. So if United States tell him to jump, he's only going to ask, oh, I am going to jump. But now, before me bring you in, Ratty, I am going to ask you specifically as it relates to our best thinking that we are going to apply now. This is what I am seeing right here. Isn't that United States is using a pretext of drugs, right? Situation first, right, where it comes to Venezuela, but the mission is to make sure that they undermine, right, Venezuelan authority and want to install a puppet government in there. However, it goes beyond that, Ratty, in terms of what I am looking on. Why Venezuela came under such attack or such notice from the United States? Isn't that a situation to the fact that Venezuela now becomes a part of the BRICS? Is it a pretext being used so that it built a momentum as it relates to drugs, right, relating to Venezuela, where that is not true? However, this to me appears that there is some momentum building up with United States, the Europe, the West versus the BRICS. And where we are seeing now Russia and China is now pushing to defend Venezuela, right? And as I said originally, the reason why Venezuela came under such oppression is to the fact that they signed on to the BRICS. Seems like United States is losing some power in our backyard and might be want to push back as it relates to the BRICS, right, growing. It's a deadly threat where the United States is concerned. Weakness to the United States if the dollar got sink and BRICS get stronger. What say you on this, Ratty? Because you understand the person who can go deep as it relates to geopolitics.
Oh, volume. Rattigan, hold on. Your volume. There.
Okay, go ahead.
There we go. Yeah. The if you recall, Guyana and Venezuela were on the verge of fighting a war over disputed territory.
Yes.
And I didn't say a U.S. There may have been a U.S. diplomatic presence, but we didn't see a military presence there.
Exactly.
No, I can't recall if this was under the previous, under Joe Biden-led administration, or it was Donald Trump administration. It may have been under Joe Biden. Well, people in the chat will clear that up. But you're right. This geopolitics is far more dangerous,
exactly,
than people might at first blush. Just say, yeah, you know, the U.S. is increasing its presence in the Caribbean, because one mistake, as I said before, no, one mistake, just some analyst or somebody who's supposed to be watching and checking and all, just make one mistake, Caribbean gone. And right now, what we're seeing, based on the geopolitics of it, we're seeing where CARICOM is coming apart at the seams right now. It's coming apart. And
yes,
and like I said, there's BRICS involved, there's oil involved, there is and we've been told that drugs are involved. But then you will hear the argument that the opposing argument to that is, wait a minute, the Coast Guard, they used to deal with the drug situation. Are you saying that they're a failure? And if they are a failure, what are you going to do about the Coast Guard? Should we abandon the Coast Guard?
Hold on, Ratty. If drugs is a significant thing, then why did President Trump release the Honduran president who was found guilty for again?
That's a good point. It's that one there. People scratching their head even down in Washington. People scratching their head because they're saying we don't understand this. If you're fighting, if you're declaring a war against drugs, then why is it that this man who's responsible for at least he was convicted of this?
Yes,
we're not speculating now.
Yes,
convicted of participating in deals that ended up with tons of drugs coming to America. Then why is it that you're releasing him? Because it goes against the argument. Then there's also the argument that no war has been declared. No war has been declared. Because guess what? It's the Congress that has to declare war. It's not the president.
Yes.
The Congress have to say, well, then the president have to go to the Congress, and the Congress says, yes, fine. The president just can't get up and say, well, we're going to fight war over there, we're going to fight over there. No, we have seen in the past where things like that did happen. So it's one thing to have things on the book, and it's another thing to have it implemented without any care, any consideration about what's written. And so what we're seeing right now is might is right. And that's the policy. Might is right.
Mm-hmm.
And it is dangerous. And our prime minister, as you mentioned, he played absolutely no role in this. He has no role, even though he should be playing a major role. He cannot, because, like you said, they have the goods on him. They do have the goods. Every transaction that he's ever been. Hey, hold on. We talk about Integrity Commission. You think the Integrity Commission is anything compared to what the U.S. government has on this man?
True.
It is nothing. Them can tell him from the day he was born until now. Them can give him an account of everything he's ever done. Everything, his parents, his siblings, his associates, everything they've ever done. So he's not going to do that. But there's something also in just shortly after the first Trump administration, Jamaica put out a policy on the diaspora. And in that policy, they were essentially criticizing the Trump administration. And they were embracing the Biden administration to say Biden is going to be doing things for undocumented Jamaicans to give them a path to citizenship. I hope the Prime Minister remembers that this is a government policy, In fact, you know what? Let me share this with you. Don't mean to take up too much time, but people need to see this. Can you see that, Lady Ann?
Yes.
People, Sita. This is it. What page is this? This is 61. Look here, people. See that? This is the Jamaican government diaspora policy. This is it, the official one. And look down at page 61, where them have 61. All right, Sita. I'm going to talk about immigration now. I mean, no, so the Prime Minister no want the Trump administration even look on this, I remember saying them put out this, You see what I'm saying? Jamaican migrants to the United States continue to be adversely affected by the inability of the U.S. government to agree on comprehensive immigration reform, despite attempts by successive administrations and policymakers to consider the economic, security, and humanitarian concerns which affect the migrant community. Look on the next sentence. Following attempts by the Trump administration to tighten the U.S.'s borders, the Biden administration will present its immigration reform to Congress, which proposes, among the other things, and it lists all the things, DACA, pass citizenship, all of the things where the Trump administration is against. You must say, no, man, We are support. We want to deal with Biden because Biden not deal with them things. People who get deported during the Trump administration, them say no, bring them back. No limit on family based. Sorry. Them want increase the limit on family based immigration, and eliminate them from employment visas. Since last one, exempt spouses and children of green card holders from employment-based immigration quotas, expanding the number of green cards available to employment-based immigration. Look at the next sentence. Maybe when I can't see it, the Biden administration has also signaled its interest in restoring faith in the U.S. legal immigration system and promoting integration of new Americans. If successful, there will be multiple ways for undocumented persons to achieve a suitable path to citizenship. Now, people, let me tell you something. The Prime Minister want the Trump administration, the second iteration of it, to see this document. Them don't want them to see this document. Because them see this document, they must, well, look, them know already the kind of games are played, but they must say, you see, when Marco Rubio came to Jamaica and the Prime Minister, I rally around him and I call him my friend. What he must understand is that America don't really have friends, America have interests.
Yes.
They have interests. And when you are no longer suitable for American purposes, then them get rid of you. It's that simple. If you're not beneficial to America, then there's no point in having a relationship with you if you're not beneficial. And look when put out, this is an official government policy, And it look like them forget, but people, I want to go and get this because guess what happened now? You see, like, oh, we start to expose this. We know so them are going to rush now to take this out of the document. So here, see the document, See it, people. National Diaspora Policy, Government of Jamaica, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, page 61. If you don't miss any other page, go to page 61. This document are going to be a huge problem for them when the Trump administration read this document and say, oh, so only did when we step off and want to criticize, we and now hug up the Biden administration and now come tell us a friend, we don't want a friend, I don't want undocumented aliens to get a pathway to citizenship. That is one of the things where this Trump administration say not going to happen. It's not going. If you're undocumented, them said no, send them back home. And see, this is where the Jamaican government policy is, that we are work with Biden administration because Biden are going to give them things, People telling you, just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. So, Byron, all we can do now, because we now have no voice now, and them not listening to us. All we can do now is do the big prayer now, do the big prayer. The big prayer we have to pray for, because if there is any kind of skirmish, war, whatever it is down in the Caribbean, you pointed it out. I don't think it's just going to be between the U.S. and Venezuela.
Oh, no.
I don't. So.
The problem that I have, Ratty, is the ripple effect that it is going to have. You understand? And I mean, further shockwave as it relates to the Jamaica economy. And you know that, our economy is fragile. And
yes.
Situation like this is going to put the entire Caribbean on a turmoil.
And the thing about it too is that the Caribbean is not united.
Exactly.
The Caribbean is not united. You have all kinds of people are going with all kinds of shenanigans, and like I said, we can criticize the Trinidadian Prime Minister as much as we want, but she has made it clear that I am hitching my wagon to the US. I don't want to say.
Well, here what happened, Ratty. 2 days ago, Trinidad changed their position,
And what them say now?
Them claim that they are not supporting the United States as it relates to what they are doing with Venezuela. Yeah, they changed 2 days ago. They changed their position.
I didn't
and
know this.
other Caribbean countries are, changing tune as well, right? But the thing is, this to me, if Donald Trump proceed, right, pretty much you're going to have very limited. He's going to have very limited support because definitely I don't think Canada will be supporting him. Germany will be supporting him, right? Many of his allies, right, wouldn't supporting United States as it relates to this situation. So I mean, it's very serious. And
Oh. Hold on a second there. See, Larkland, I think Larkland cleared up. It come out. The person I think who made the statement that you're talking about is Raleigh, the former Prime Minister of Trinidad. The current Prime Minister of Trinidad. She hasn't changed her position. She hasn't changed.
Larkland cleared up for us.
Yeah. Because they have a listening
statement. I don't Prasad change her mind. Okay, because and that could be correct as it relates to what Larkland said. Because I know I've read something as it relates to Trinidad. Maybe I didn't realize it was former government who came out, right, and speaking, right, I mean, categorically clear that, he's not in support in terms of what, Donald Trump has been doing. It's a very dangerous precedent being setting here, right? Let me just have Melting Pot say his piece on that issue. Melting Pot? Yes, Pat.
Yes, the situation is very, very challenging right now in the Caribbean region. And I mean, CARICOM don't really have a leader. You understand? So there's no leadership going around in CARICOM right now. I mean, the vice that represent CARICOM.
Melting Pot of really give it up.
No, the vice that represent CARICOM is Mia Matley.
Yeah.
The Barbados Prime Minister.
Which you're right.
You can't make a comparison between her vice and the vice. Because her vice is always constant and the vice is non-existent. So I mean, CARICOM really don't have a leader. Yeah, CARICOM have a poser. A guy who likes soundbite and PR, and just like PR, so him are the man in charge of CARICOM. What is he doing for CARICOM? Absolutely zil. Nothing. You understand? So when Seaga from down at Trinidad, decide to hitch our wagon, as rightly use that term, and to the United States, she cited as something more substantial for she and Trinidad hold on to. Yeah? But at the same time, her reference is just exposing Trinidad to, any element from outside of CARICOM. Because, sure, if America, go ahead with their war with Venezuela, and when it was not war against drugs, war over geopolitical affair in terms of the BRICS and the Isle and all this, nothing to do with drugs. Then certainly China and Russia will headline assistance for Venezuela. No, when you look at three superpower that in the Caribbean basin, you can imagine Caribbean basin blown out of the water completely, with three superpower actively engaging each other. You understand? The triangle worse than the Bermuda Triangle. So we have to look at it.
Let me say something. If United States decided that they are going to pursue, right, war against Venezuela, and Russia and China, right, is going to support Venezuela, based on how we looking on nuclear armament, right, arms and ammunition, we are looking on the game board, and to me, I don't see where United States can win.
No,
because based on the nuclear
armament,
armament that BRICS have. I mean,
So
the Western hemisphere, you understand, don't have the amount of nuclear.
no,
And so then that is
and
dangerous.
true.
It
And then
is
you have
going to be annihilation for United States. If they
definitely,
pursue. Go ahead,
definitely.
sorry.
And remember, there's that quiet voice out there who hasn't said anything, who hasn't shown them on, but I sure know they will join. Yeah, South Korea. South Korea would join as well. You understand? Because they have helped Russia with troops in the war against Ukraine. And we know they are allied.
You mean
They,
North
they,
Korea? You mean
North
North
Korea.
Korea? North Korea.
North Korea. Yeah. They show their hands and they parade and just the three mighty force joined together the other day. So there's no way Trump, yeah, and exit. They ain't go out with nothing right now. Them have what? Yeah, and you will see that's the eventuality. Trump is just bluffing. He's a bluffer. You understand? When it comes to the war with Venezuela, him can't engage Venezuela because Venezuela have allies that are more powerful in combined. When you combine all of them together, more powerful than US. You understand? And there's no way US would win that war. And what it would have done, damage even the World Cup next year. Yeah? Because you can't just out there so be a mighty long time, Part of 2026 of the World Cup year, you're still there. You have to retreat. Because if you cannot cause chaos when the World Cup will play in the Americans, you can't do it. What that when do? That when damage so much of America economy and what they projected in terms of revenue from the
And
World
again,
Cup.
melting pot. Several provinces in Africa will take side with China and Russia. Several provinces
Simple.
in Africa, including Burkina Faso.
Simple. Because,
Go.
the man is waging war against black people as well. So just the fact that he's trying to get out black immigrants out of America, then it simply means that him one man against the world, him can't win. What Trump is doing right now is attacking the world, basically, apart from Israel. That's what I see. Everywhere else him going on, throw him weight. Yeah? But him cannot succeed because even him own congressional members, them are dripping from him. They are drifting away from him. You understand? This man upon a war rampant, in him last term, because him know I'm not no more political presidential career at the time. It ends this term. So what he's trying to do is cause me, you understand, and thinking that, well, just the name Donald Trump and the might of America, him can succeed. He won't succeed. Yeah? And this is why I cannot understand why Andrew Holness has become so much of a close ally in the Trump administration. Yeah? But when we look on a document like what Rattigan showed me a while ago, the truth is just the other day was against them. So what kind of role this guy play? When really I do? This guy, and I'm headspace, he might hallucinate badly. He might lose it, man. You was in favor of Biden.
Bipolar.
Well, he's bipolar. Yeah? One for a better friend, Byron, bipolar. He was in favor of Biden policy, in regards to granting, people status in the United States. Biden administration lost the presidential election. I know this guy is wrapped in him arms so tight around Trump administration when Trump administration is against what Biden policy was offering to the immigrants. You see, Andrew Wall is a madman. A madman, that's why we tell people him say he's not prime minister material and him doing surplus to no requirement because he can't deliver on behalf of the Jamaican people. So you require from him. A guy when make a guy like Mark Rubio come and him bow Mark Rubio couldn't come on my yard and me, boy, you know. Yeah, man. And my place this, I'm in charge of this. Because there's no way Andrew can go to United States to tell them what to do. But you see, when you're not clean, when your finger them dirty and sticky, when your nose like to smell money, then these things will happen. You understand? It's a Andrew downfall for them coming to politics, you know. A guy who tell lie just to elevate him status. Yeah? Unbelievable. A guy who don't know the true principle of being a leader. You understand? Them thing you set him back great. Him not no talk right now. Nobody know why he see him or hear him. It's only people who are use him, listen to him like America, and it just go through 1 year and go back to the next one to really stick to them brain. Them just listening to them and accommodate him because them want him to do the dirty work for them. Him not no substance. And the weakest guy that's ever emerged from out of CARICOM. Weak. Come like a wet rat where I run to a sewage tunnel. You understand? Smelly with corruption. So, BCSA from Trinidad recognize that CARICOM has become disjointed based on who is in charge of CARICOM as the leader of CARICOM. Nobody know but tell people long time, you know. When your profile signify you as a corrupted administrator, nobody know want around you. Nobody want to be seen anywhere close to you. People isolate themselves from you and isolate you from them. Because this guy image is one of such that the whole world knows are the people in this prime minister is right now. Entire all Africans know about him. Africans know about him. You understand? The whole of the West know about Andrew Wallace and in practice. Far East know about him. Even China, where my Far East knows him a criminal. That's why China dig him so. That's why China use him, you know. Everybody use him. The man coming like a prostitute. The guy is a prostitute in real term. Where leadership is concerned around the world, Andrew the prostitute. Anybody can get him. Guy, hey, him love beg, you know. He's a guy who love beg. He's a guy who show him hand to be weak and pathetic. You understand? Him not no sense. So, no wonder him gonna send Catherine car if him go camp and him would have sense. You understand? It's a how we come up guy. How we come up, you know, politician. Him never designed to be a leader. No. Leaders are born. Eddie Seaga create him. That's why him falls. Yeah? The creative guy is not the guy who was born to be a leader. Like a Sir Michael Manley. Or a Sir Marky G. Or a Sir Percival James Patterson. Or a Portia Simpson. You can't see that they demonstrate leadership qualities. Yeah? And so they were not always surrounded by controversy. More so corruption. Their leadership was, you know, one of transparency. Yeah? Integrity. You understand? So, Andrew Wallace doesn't have that. So, everybody use him and use him till them refuse him. And they must refuse him. They will refuse him. You understand? It's only a matter of time him can sustain what him have to offer them. Yeah? Because when Trump gone, what am I going to do? Because Trump, the Republican won't be the next president, you know. It's going to be the Democrat. Because the whole American is against the Republican Party under Trump. Yeah? So when the Democrat them come back now, what am I going to do? Because him show them man, you know. But thank be to God, him won't be around. We have to have a change. Because if Andrew Wallace, yeah, is still the Prime Minister of Jamaica, when the Democrats win the next presidential election, heaven help Jamaica. Because them now go get no line agreement with America again. Yeah? Because remember, you know, the Democrats see who this guy support. Them see him support. And them him cannot be trusted because he's a liar. You understand? Him is a trickster, him is a con man, him is a 3-card guy. Him say this today and tomorrow, him sit on the same subject, him spin it round. Nobody can't trust him, that's why Carrie come now. I say, well, look what, this guy is not credible, you know. We don't really want him as our leader in a Carrie come. Because things are happening in the region. We don't hear him say nothing. Him silent like a mouse. But we know him friendly with both sides. Him friendly with the US and him friendly with the BRICS. You understand? So, where is him standing? Nobody don't know where him standing for right now, you know. Who him stand for or who him stand against? Nobody don't know. But we know. We know him have to stand for America. Yeah? So, and China know say him a sell out them to America too. Where everybody are dig where them can get out of Jamaica and this garbage leadership where we have. This garbage guy we call himself Prime Minister. This guy we steal the election them. Cause even the one after the pandemic, you know. That was a scam election where him steal, you know. Knowing to the fact say the people him caught them off guard. The People's National Party caught them off. Nobody not prepared for the election. The election is supposed to even take place. Yeah? So him just use him little corrupted money and him corrupted self and steal that election as well and come steal the one the other day. It's a guy when have no credibility. Nobody not really want him. Yeah? Him upon a wider perception scale. Yeah? Him popularity is waning. Waning away. It's just a little handful of people who get the scandal back from him, the handout. And them alone are support him and Big Nazi, Big Mama and Draws Davis them. Yeah? Other than that, him not no support, you know. This is why I'm have to go all out to steal the election. This is why, you know, in popularity, even in a CARICOM, it now have no existence anymore. And Trinidadian Prime Minister tell it as it is. And I sure know me and Matley say it as it is as well too. And several more leaders in CARICOM, they do not want this guy to be CARICOM main man. Yeah, because him is a sellout. Him cannot, you know, unite CARICOM. Because CARICOM is afraid of a corrupted leader being a part of them and their conversation going forward. Yeah? America using him, and we all know that. And Jamaican people, it's time we don't realize that because we are telling them, yeah? And what is about to happen, God forbid, it will be serious in the region. Because remember, I know one thing Jamaica have right now, you know, tourism. So if you have a war, the tourists now come down at the side of the road. You're crazy. So how Jamaica go manage? Our service economy that relies heavily on tourism would survive. We are already below 18. We are the worst Caribbean island in terms of trading power. Yeah, in terms of what our dollar value to the US. The worst. Every other country in the CARICOM have a stronger currency. So you can imagine if a war kick off. The one little aspect of saving grace, which is the tourism sector, it will be damaged in such a way that it won't be able to get off the ground again. Because war can't last long, you know. War don't have any ending, you know, schedule, you know. Just look at what is going on in Ukraine with Russia. 4 years now and counting. Nearly a whole administration terms in a Jamaican election cycle. So how tourists would get back, tourism would get back off the ground. So Jamaican, hey, God did give Jamaican the opportunity, you know, to change all of this. September gone. And people play devil's advocate with them life. Running behind a guy who go like short paradise plum sweet ya them put. Sweet them up and gone. Yeah? And also country run. You have to have leadership with the quality of a Michael Manley. When vice, yeah, it's listened to around the world. Yeah? Where in present command respect anywhere him go. Where people know the true value of him as a statesman, world premier statesman, where lobby on behalf of several countries. Yeah, not just locally, not the region, but internationally. Yeah, several countries. So Andrew Wallace doesn't have that type of persona about himself. You understand? Him not see, him can't come close to Michael Manley. And what Michael Manley stand for. So we have to just call to the fellow Jamaican. Now it's time to rise up against this guy. This guy slowly but surely is bringing a certain element Jamaica that Jamaica don't want to experience. Yeah? Because when you affiliate against certain fascists in life, yeah, and affiliated with certain fascists in life, it causes problems. Yeah, it's just like inner city violence. You live here somewhere, you go over there, so where you know you're not supposed to go. The problem, so I better you stay neutral. Well, Andrew is not neutral. Because when Andrew like his handout as a government, him like when country help Jamaica, because him can't help Jamaica to grow, Him not have a vision there. Yeah? So if you notice, Jamaica is a borrowing and a begging country. Just look where they with Melissa. You see him sit down and call him and wait till the money come in. Him couldn't do nothing. Even when you hear him talk about the $6.2 billion, net reserve. I lie them a tell. Them now that them scrape out that election and leading up to election. The net reserve, they did empty. Anybody did do a check on that at the time. I don't think it have 50% of what them a talk about. Here, because they mash up the economy bad. By bad governance. Yeah? With high corruption. Yeah? So we know everything. You understand? So Andrew cannot come and say not more. Andrew need to surrender the country and give the country to a person who can lead the country forward. I yield back the floor.
Here we have it.
Yes, sir, Byron.
Blessings. That here we have it tonight. Brother Rattigan, do you have any final word before we go?
Ratty.
Yeah. This prime minister of ours, we're in bad shape as a result, but it's even worse when he accepted the role of leader of CARICOM with much fanfare, and then you look at what he has done since, and it's nothing, absolutely nothing. And it's a reflection on Jamaica. It's not a reflection on just Prime Minister Andrew Holness, the person. It's a reflection on the country of Jamaica because, as Melting Pot said, we elected him. And that's the way the world is looking at it, that it was a free and fair election, although we know that, or we believe that the in his constituency, West Central St. Andrew, there's a problem there, and we will find out more about that in the coming months, because that election result is basically under assault, on appeal, because the constituted authority refused to accept the affidavit submitted by Mr. Paul Buchanan and his supporters. So we're going to see what's going to happen there. But all I can say is that things are not looking good. A dear friend of mine just wrote and said, there will be no war. It's just posturing. It's about the power of oil. I don't think it's that simple. I think we're in dangerous times here. We're in dangerous times. And it doesn't look like the superpowers are going to be backing down, from what we can see. And you know what I could say? I mean, I could see the U.S. attack, or the U.S. ending up in a war with Venezuela, and then China end up in a war with Taiwan. I could see that easily happening, and then them could say, look, you over there are fighting, well, we going, and you're doing that, well, we're going to do what we need to do here. And
exactly.
So there are many more moves to be played in this geopolitical thing. And then you mentioned, Mystic, also BRICS, the economic piece of it.
Yes.
This thing is it's not shaping up. It's not shaping up as if it's going to be resolved anytime soon.
No.
And I'm just hoping that it doesn't go the way that it's looking like it's going to go, because otherwise the Agniam was upper.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, Brother Ratty. Brother Ratty, what happened to your program?
Which one of them?
Today's
Tomorrow.
Ratigan is tomorrow. Come reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey.
man. Talk about your program. Man.
Yeah, man. I just want to tell the people that Saturday, this past Saturday, we had something that was just magnificent. It was just fabulous. What we had an exam. Because, you know, on Saturday, we call it Ratigan University. And the whole purpose of Saturday is to teach, is to educate, is to elevate people. And we had 12 questions with two extra points. And I tell you, the chat was just moving so fast, we couldn't keep up. You know, I don't think anybody got all of them right. One person, I think, said yes, but we don't, that's doubtful. All right. But not everybody got the question, all of them right. But what we're going to be doing is going to be a regular feature. We're going to be doing pop quizzes. And the semester starts next year, January. But we may do a pop quiz, who knows, tomorrow, Saturday, because it depends on what we teach. And the Wednesday program, tomorrow, people, you have to show up. There's breaking news. OT's working on something right now, and hopefully tomorrow we'll get it going. So show up again in your numbers. All right. Wednesday and Saturday.
Blessings.
So Andrea Burke says she got 90%. All right, big up yourself, Andrea.
All right. Remember, say we have some solid programs that the people need to tune into. Oh, I want to say melting pot, respect, and let me just give Wifey to close this out. Wifey.
Okay, guys, thank you as usual for joining us. Really appreciate the continued support. Again, remember, tune in to Come Reason with Ratigan tomorrow and also on Saturday for his regular program. I want to say thank you to Melting Pot. Boy, him not come with no hammer. When him come over here, look like him come with an anvil for just drop everybody. The anvil them just a drop left, right, and center. All right. Big up yourself, Bowler, and also big up to Hot Off the Press. Was in the chat. Thank you so much.
Bless yourself, Hot Off the Press.
To each and every one, and a happy and Merry Christmas. For Thursday. Thursday's Christmas. Are we going to be here on Thursday? We'll see.
We will see.
Because most people will be opening gifts and, having family time and stuff, preparing Christmas dinner and stuff. So yeah, it's a bit iffy right now. But anyway, thank you guys so much for your continued support throughout the year. Yeah. Really appreciate each and every one. And as I said at the beginning of the program, remember those in Western Jamaica whose Christmas will not be bright, and especially the kids. And if you notice, I did not put up a Christmas tree this year because I said to Baron, I am not going to do that just to be in solidarity with those who Christmas is not going to be bright this year. So we will continue to keep them in our prayers, think about them, and all the kids who will not be celebrating Christmas for this year. It's a sad situation.
It's sad, yeah.
But with time, everything, as we like to say, time and God. God is in the midst and we will get through the storm. So until maybe Thursday, if we're not coming on Thursday, we'll put out a notification. But
I think more like Friday.
Yeah.
So Friday will be out. I don't think we'll be out on Thursday because we are allowing that space for people to, just do their thing and enjoy them space. But Friday, I think it's more that will be coming out on Friday. But not Christmas. We'll just have people enjoying their moments. All right?
Yeah. Okay, guys. So thank you so much. And until we see you.
Well,
good.
But
safe travel.
Blessings.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Blessing.
All right.
I know why you come to me with that foolishness, You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right to start that stupid argument. hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.